Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so you know, you're going out to the world. Yeah, there we're live. G'day out there. We're just chatting away.
Hit the mute button.
So you can see that sub, can't you? Yeah. See, it does go underwater. See, there it is.
That's pretty cool.
It is, yeah. I did like the idea of remote controlled submarines, but there's a real problem with them. You can't see them when they go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you need a big scaffold tower at the side of the pond, so you can get high enough to see the submerged submarine.
I know if you come back here, you can see it. You can see it underwater there, but obviously it's
you have it snorkeling, so there's always something at the surface.
Yeah.
Very small.
Well, unless you can get a really good underwater camera on the nose of it, so you can see what it. But you would have been blind.
The fact that he's got a radio controlled submarine that can submerge and surface and fire
torpedoes is pretty good. Yeah. Wouldn't complain about that.
It must be a fair size though.
Hang on, let me see. There's a picture up here where he's backing it up.
To get all of that crammed in
there you go.
Oh, it's not that big. I thought it'd be big.
No. Doing pretty well. So I think he's putting in the number 2 torpedo there. So
I can even tell you what type of U-boat that is.
That's a radio controlled one. Oh, he's got 2.
The smaller of what they call the electro boats. That's the Type 20.
You can see
what's the other one that was in front of it.
The other one back here. Hang on, let's go back a bit. There you go. Yeah, it'll come up. There you go. Don't know. That's not German, is it? I don't think.
It's not a U-boat, no.
No.
It's not a German design. The one he's fiddling with is a Type 23.
Yeah.
And the Germans came up with 2 of what they call the electro boats. The Type 21 revolutionised submarine design, and that was the ocean-going one. This one, the Type 23, it was electric and super silent and stealthy, but it was so small that you only used it off the coast. You couldn't go very far in it. I think you couldn't reload the torpedo tubes. What he's doing is pretty much what they did in real life. They reloaded them from the outside, and that was it. Once you went out and shot your, 2 or 3 torpedoes, that was it. You were done.
Hey, Clive.
They weren't very big. They weren't designed to go very far.
Hey, Spooky. Go Armageddon. Canadian Ball. Okay, Jaren. Who else we got out there? Yeah, that's it for that.
4.
Hey, I do think it's interesting. Number 4, and Dave. That thing they've got in the background there. I don't have a video of that going, but they're all set for that to go in the water.
I can't remember what that one is.
Don't know.
Yeah, they did come up with quite a few amphibious designs. Obviously, other than the Sherman DD, it's pretty difficult to make a tank float.
He missed. Oh, that just got the.
Oh, he took the rudder out. Exactly what they did to the Bismarck.
Yeah. Oh. Collateral damage.
And off it goes until the battery runs out. Yeah, that's a Type 23.
I did find. Oh, there's a German Type 7 up there.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's the one they built the most of, and everybody would be familiar with the Type 7.
Yeah. I did see this one. This is supposedly the world's smallest radio-controlled model plane. It's not very big.
Oh my god, it's tiny. How the hell did you get everything in there?
Yeah. I think they're flying it in a second. Yeah. I haven't bothered with the sound. The sound's very uninteresting.
Yeah.
Here you go. Come on.
I mean, just as a plastic kit, I wouldn't want to make it that small because it'd be too fiddly.
Yeah.
Although I bet you it's not the world's lightest radio-controlled aeroplane.
I'm sure it's not. No,
No, probably not. But as far as the smallest, yeah, I can believe that.
I think it's they showed a thing. I think it was like 35 grams or something tiny.
So fucking small, I can bet. Oh, there it goes.
Only just see it.
That's like when a bat gets in your house. Hey, get the bat in.
I don't think it's got the greatest control in the world.
Well, the control surface is so bloody
Yeah, there you go.
blimey.
I think they start off here somewhere. They do weigh it at some point here. There you go. 1.0 grams.
Blimey.
I read that. That's including the little battery pack thing, or whatever that is. Actually, it looks like a SIM card. I wonder if that's what they're using to do the control with. I'm not sure.
Oh, my guess would have been the battery.
Yeah, that's probably been that was my first guess. Not very big at all. Well, there you go. Before I came in, I was just listening to Gems to see if any. The Flat Earth World has been very quiet for the last couple of weeks from my end.
Yeah, well, that's because a certain person was given another week-long timeout or something.
Yeah, well, that's in Gems, yeah, but Gems seems to have dried up with Flat Earthers for the moment. They're trickling back in, but there's I've had your on there. Your angle thinks that there's a difference between the ice is not water, and neither is steam. But he does accept that they are the same chemical compound. So that was funny. And he's been collecting mercury. And someone's trying to say, "Oh, you've been careful handling." He says, "No. He's just been handling it. He thinks it's fun."
Mercury poisoning. What fun.
Someone's trying to put it, you know that mercury is poisoning is a thing, right? Nah. Okay. That was fun.
We used to have a device in the radar system that I worked on that made for a 3,000 millisecond delay line.
Yeah.
It was a big pool of mercury, and you acoustically coupled the signal into it.
Okay, yeah. Well, that made it interesting.
So you had a little speaker and a little mic at one end of the channel, and a little microphone at the other.
Yeah. And did you find which music?
This was the
Go on.
this was the mid-60s, so we didn't have a lot of options for
Fun.
making signals wait a long time.
I was going to say, which music was better when you played it through the... Where were you, mid-60s? You would have got a little bit of rock by then, I think. Or was it all... rock?
No, it was all heavy metal, wasn't it?
It was when you played. It didn't matter what you played through it; it all became heavy metal. Yeah. Fair enough. There you go. Well, just us here. Paul's a little bit late. He's got to go check on the ducks. It's a bit hot. And he's got to make sure that they're all okay. I don't remember last year around this time. I can remember that he had trouble with someone broke the water lines and the ducks misters weren't working. And
Oh, yes. Yeah.
yeah, so that would have been fun. So I suspect, yes, they're just making sure everything's right. I'll have to give him credit when he comes back in, but he did beat me on Brie. I don't know if you remember last time, he and I were in the same league and sort of competing to see who'd come out on top. I sort of ran out of time to spend on it. He got a couple of thousand out of me, so there was nothing I could catch up in time. That was it. So yes, he won that one. But I did have this feeling it didn't matter how far ahead, how much I got on it. He was always going to push a few points to make sure he was ahead. Yeah. I don't think he was going to let me get ahead on that game. It's a bit competitive when it comes to that one. Mind you, so am I, but he seems to get a much more stronger competition than I do. So, what have we got? So,
can I just give a shout out to China postal deliveries?
All right, yeah.
That bloody big old tank that I bought, I thought, nice palette cleanse, I'll just do it straight from the box. No, the tracks were shit. They were all individual, but they're crap. The only place I could find to order metal tracks from was China.
Yeah.
8 days later. That's half of one side.
Wow.
I've already pinned it together. They come with pre-cut pins, because usually these kits just come with a length of brass wire and you have to cut it to the side.
Cut them yourself, yeah.
I've got the pins. That's what's left of this side. There's 113 links per side. But 8 days, because I kept following the track and thought, has it even cleared customs yet? Oh no, it's just come through the letterbox. From
China,
just north of Hong Kong, somewhere like a Fengang or whatever it was bloody.
Yeah.
8 days. I thought that's putting our post office to shame, I think.
Yeah. Well, I find the same.
Anything puts our office to shame, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They put themselves to shame, I'm afraid, over the last few years.
I almost always seem to get stuff from overseas quicker than I do if it's local. I don't know what that's about.
Well, there's a couple of places. I think I did actually last year. I got something from Ukraine, which I thought was quite impressive because they're in the middle of being invaded. There's another place I think in Poland, and that takes no more than that's a week to 10 days. But 8 days from China, I mean, it's around the other side of the bloody planet.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. Leave a review. Yep, surely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess you're all right. You're all right as long as it's small enough to put on an aeroplane, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's it.
But I don't understand this because once it gets into our country, it's the same delivery companies that's doing the internal deliveries that seem to take longer to get from, say, a warehouse in Melbourne to Canberra than it does from the airport in Melbourne to Canberra. So I can't work that out. I suspect there's
because that kept telling me, that'll be the middle of February. I thought, fair enough, it's coming from the other side of the world, 8 days, literally. I think it was January the 25th or something. I ordered it and turned up yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, you do have your failures as well, but
that's the size of the box in its entirety, and I could have just caught their delivery schedule right as well, because I'm guessing they don't necessarily send stuff across the world every day.
No. I don't know. I think some of the Chinese stuff, yes, depending where you're getting from, but yeah, they seem to have a fair industry in export of that sort of stuff. So. Yeah,
I mean, I did it through AliExpress.
Yeah.
But the particular shop it came from, I thought, right, I'm saving you my favourites because you've actually got some decent stuff on there. I might be buying from you again, even if you are in shop. I mean, it is the postage, the track kit. Well, I don't know, it was £28, and it was more than half that again just to get it posted here. But it was that or nothing. These kits, you just can't get them in the UK. You haven't been able to for years, but overseas they're still around.
Have you seen our friend Lindsay? I won't do a proper Lindsay bingo yet. We can do that in a little bit. He's really getting into his short.
Those little shorts, isn't he?
Yeah. And some are just completely.
And then there's like, what was the point of that?
I think there's a couple on the beach here. Hang on, let me find his shorts. Switch over. Where are your shorts? He's got hundreds of them. Well, I don't know about hundreds, but it's getting close to it.
It's They're not, man. And they're all like, you just watch one or two at random, and it's like, what were you trying to say? What's the point in that? You know?
Yeah. Hang on, let's go shorts. Got to go there, don't we? See all these shorts.
And how did you get past security?
And what he does, you can tell, like, because he starts here. He does this one for 8 seconds, and he continues for another 8 seconds, and he goes for another 8 seconds. Well, whatever it is, it's not 8 seconds, but I think there's one here I played. Oh yeah, might have sound turned off. Yeah.
Why do they keep using it in their conversations?
And how do you listen to that? The mics, the wind in the mic.
That's the windy one. I think I saw one of them.
Globe
the
Towns
wind
don't
blows,
understand
that's
what
the
Coriolis
microphone.
actually is. Why do they keep using it in their conversations?
That's the entirety of that. Is that little bit of text, and the rest is your ears being blown out by. I don't know. So I don't know. He's a bit. I don't. It seems to me like he's trying to find what's going to make him money.
It looks flat.
But you know, when you look at his views, you go down to his shorts. When his shorts came out, he got a few, and then he got none, and then he got a few, and then he got none, and you think he might learn. And he's
I want to know how he got out the asylum.
yeah.
So, how did he get past security?
Someone left the door open,
Did they know he's out?
so I was going to run one of this. So let's give him an extra view. Yeah.
Who have associated the umbilical cord of creation to the Dreamtime stories of the Aborigines boomerang. Why is it a boomerang? Because it represents the umbilical cord of creation, which comes out of the centre Arctic over to the tropical gap, where we see our sun. Back at the elbow, back at the bend of the boomerang, is the actual sun of creation, a pure plasma locked in the centre Arctic in a tight magnetic field, just like the tokamak plasma. Well, that's creation. We live in the created realm out here in the physical realm, but back above the Arctic is the non-physical. Below, at the Arctic, there's a place called the inaccessibility, or place of inaccessibility that no one can actually get to.
What is that?
Okay?
I don't
That's
know.
where it all begins.
I think it is
above
the
that
pole
point.
of inaccessibility.
Is anyone out there clever enough to have associated the umbilical
You
cord
can
of
get a bloody trip
creation
to the South Pole.
Well,
You can go to the South Pole.
oh, this is the North Pole he's
Yeah.
talking about, the Arctic. So he's talking about the
You
North
can go to
Pole.
the North Pole too. If you want to go to the magnetic North Pole, just hitch your lift with Jeremy Clarkson. He fucking drove there.
Yeah, you can even get the. You can even, but there is regular trips to the North Pole. Yeah, they're.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Whereas, I mean, and I believe they're cheaper than going to the South Pole.
Probably.
Hang on. Let's have a
Well,
look.
it's not
And
quite
of course- and of
Spartaco,
course-
is it?
And of course, submarines have a habit of going there quite a lot as well because they do a lot of under ice exercises and they let's go and
Yeah.
surface through the ice. Let's find the thin bit. But yeah, you can't go there.
Yes, explore the real North Pole.
I mean, to be honest, do you really want to go there? Because it's a bit cold.
Well, yeah, you don't see. This is not the North Pole. You go Northwest Passage. No, I don't want to know about that. Northern Lights, Did they actually take you to the North Pole? Because there is a mob that take you to the North Pole. I've seen their pictures. I'll see if I can find them.
Yeah.
Arctic and North Pole. North Lights.
Yes, Dr. Nimrod. Earth does have an unbiblical cord.
Yes, and apparently it's the middle of a boomerang. So.
Boomerang represents the elbow of Earth's umbilical cord. Oh, so
Yeah.
umbilical cords have elbows. There we go.
Apparently, yes. They must be stiff. Here we are,
I
travelling
mean,
to the North Pole.
he is. if it was in a rugby game, it'd be sir, he's off his meds.
It would be.
Off his meds.
Yeah. Here we go. Yes, this is the mob I was thinking of. They're visiting the North Pole, and
Oh yeah, that's it.
you all get to stand around and get your picture taken. Yeah.
Here's North Pole. We know it is because we brought it with us and hammered it into the ice.
Something like that. They fly there by helicopter, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
'cause it's I think
Look, that-
possibly the right time of year you might be able to get there in an icebreaker, but
North Pole in luxury, 16 days, $37,000. That's half as much as it costs to get to the South Pole, and there's no luxury in going that one. So
yeah, but I don't know. You can't go there, and of course there's a mountain at the North Pole. It's funny,
Nah.
nobody's ever seen it.
well, I think it's because that
By maps drawn by people who'd never been there.
I think it's that they get so stuck on the. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by England versus Italy at 2:15. They get so stuck in the idea of the Mercator map, right, that they don't sort of really understand that the top of the earth, Canada, Russia, Greenland, they're all pretty close to each other.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that particular projection we use really screws everything up there.
Yeah, and that from Greenland to North Pole isn't that far. And compare the distance from. And it's not as cold as the Antarctic, but compare the distance from New Zealand to the South Pole. It's huge. Yeah, and you got a whole continent in a way.
There's a reason why it's not as cold because there isn't a landmass there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why Antarctica is so much colder because it's not a sheet of ice over an ocean.
No,
The
that's
Arctic
right.
is.
So you don't have the water
Helps-
circulating.
helps keep the temperatures up in a relative manner, even though it's
I mean,
still.
they're pretty much exactly polar opposites, aren't they?
Yeah.
One of them is
Well,
basically
quite literally,
surrounded by land, and the other one is a load of land completely surrounded by sea.
and quite literally, Alan, they are polar opposites.
Polar opposites. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, and then when you, I think what people forget as well is yes, Antarctica is a landmass covered in ice. Just how deep that ice is, how thick it is. We're not talking a few feet.
No, that's quite big. So look at this. So if you can get yourself to Oslo, it's 3 hours to whatever that is.
Svalbard.
Longyearbyen,
Svalbard.
Salzburg, is it?
Schmurgy.
Smorgasburg. Strasbourg. I can say the towns. Longyearbyen. And I wonder why it's got the name Longyearbyen. Would it have something to do that the light is, often more out? Could be wrong. Just a guess.
What? Days of night?
Yeah, it has longer days, so therefore it has a longer year. And 2 hours, that's not too bad. That's like 5.5 hours to get you to the ice camp, and then just 30 minutes you're there. So it's a day trip.
Yeah.
Really? Almost. Unless you come from, where are we coming from this side? Resolute. So you've got to be coming from Canada. Get yourself to Resolute from Edmonton. That's 6 hours if you come from Edmonton. You guys, of course, obviously would be trying to get from Norway.
Yeah, we're close to Oslo.
Oh, 4 days.
The other side of the North Sea.
Well, you could go 4 days in a boat. Don't know if that'd
I
be.
don't know whether I want to travel the Arctic Ocean in a boat.
Yeah.
I keep
Certainly
thinking
not
of
from a man.
CQ-17. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I don't
suppose
think
you've
I
got
want
any
to
advantage. You haven't got any U-boats trying to torpedo you this time round. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
or condors dropping bombs on you.
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably that Helsinki to Murmansk. That's the trip you got to worry about. Yeah. I don't think we want to do that one.
Yes.
Look at this one. Oh, well, here's what you should do this one. I can just see you doing this one, Alan. Get to Eureka Camp and then spend 50 to 70 days using an ice hauled sled to get from there to the North Pole.
Oh God, that was what the hamster had to do, wasn't it? He was on the top of it.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, no thanks.
imagine spending 2 months hauling it.
The other two had the right idea. Toyota Hilux, gin and tonic.
Oh, yes.
And of course the obligatory shotgun for the polar bears.
Yes.
No, you want something a bit bigger than a shotgun for a polar bear.
Yeah, but that's all we've got.
I think what you want for a polar bear is a lot of distance between you and the polar bear. That's the way to handle polar bears. I was so just checking it. So quest for the North Pole. How much does that one that's 50 days cost? Doesn't say. I can't imagine that being only $37,000.
Oh yeah, and Dr. Nimrod, I will point out they didn't actually drive to the North Pole.
No, I cheated.
They drove to the magnetic North Pole, which.
Oh, I'm a bit loud, am I? Hang on a second. Sorry. Am I loud in here?
Is a lot further south.
Yeah, no. Well, not having any trouble hearing you, which makes a change.
Okay, yeah. I'll just turn it down. Does that change how you can hear me there?
I'd say you were too quiet now.
That's fun.
Oh, but it's how quiet he is for that lot out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Barely bloody hear him now.
Now.
Yeah.
I've got too loud out there and too soft in here. Other way around. Okay. Let's see what I can do. I was playing around with Banana, but I don't have it turned on. So it is the normal mic settings in theory. But let me try fixing my gain up. So, someone tell me if that's any better. Should be softer. In theory, you guys are hearing the same as they're hearing out there, but
Oh, that's a bit better.
does that sound any better? Okay, Nerd Alert. Hey, Nerd Alert, am I too loud?
Compared with us.
Compared to the rest of the people. Alright, let us know and I'll keep getting it right. Okay. I'll work on the settings. I do have a few options. Could be the noise cancelling too, stuffing it up, because I do have that turned on. Some other noises going on around the background. Just trying to keep out. Okay. Let us know how that's going. Sounds much better now? Good. Oh, we'll progress. If there's any other problems, let me know. I'll see if I can work it out. Okay. So, what have we got? I should do something. Apart from talk about the North Pole, which obviously it's interesting because obviously if civilization was more in the south, then they'd be arguing that the North Pole was an ice wall, right? Just so happens that all the maps were drawn with the north first. So, what have we got? Let's have a look. Ooh, did you watch this one?
Okay, TikTok. I will give.
It's about 4
No, you won't.
Yeah,
That's another one who will never ever pay.
No. They'll come up with
Because
something.
none of them do, because apart from the fact they're all lying gits. None of these challenges are set up properly. The money's not in escrow. It's not independent judges. No, you're not going to pay anybody a cent.
Nah, you'll always say nah at CGI. Would be interesting if someone decided to take him to court, but that would be hard too. So, because there is no formal contract. Because even the fact he says it's a contract is not enough. Anyway, I'll play it through for those who haven't seen it.
Somebody $15,000 if they can show me
Is that real money?
a real non-CGI photo of the entire Earth. $15,000.
I reckon he's put that entire Earth as his caveat that he could always get out of it. Because it is impossible to take a picture of the entire Earth. You can take a picture of the entire one side of Earth, but not the entire Earth.
If you can show me the Earth in a non-CGI photo. This is not even a joke. This is 100% legit. If you can show me a non-CGI photo of the entire Earth, I will give you $15,000.
Anyway,
It's up to you, TikTok. Please provide a non-CGI photo of the entire Earth, and you have $15,000. Consider this a contract from me to you.
Nope.
Thank you, Ryan, for this opportunity to take $15,000 from you. You will see here a photograph of the Earth from the moon, taken in 1968 during the Apollo 8 mission. I'll play a little clip of the audio that they broadcast shortly after taking this photograph.
We are now approaching lunar sunrise, and for all the people back on Earth, the crew of Apollo 8 has a message that we would like to send to you. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And from the crew of Apollo 8, we close with good night, good luck, a Merry Christmas, and God bless all of you on the good earth.
The original photographic slide is available for viewing in a museum in Houston, Texas. You can schedule a visit there, bring along your own photographic forensic expert to examine the original photographic slide if you so desire, or just feel free to pay me. I will gladly give you my mailing address, but I will be down in the vicinity of Madisonville, Louisiana, where you live, Ryan, in March. So we could meet somewhere and you could just hand off the cash. I'll be glad to do that. You can email me at mctoon@mctoon.net, or I have your email address as well. I'll be sure to send you an email so that we can make arrangements for when I can collect the money. You did say that we can consider this a contract. I do consider this a contract. If you default on the contract, then, well, I will do what you do when somebody defaults on a contract. So thank you very much, Ryan McCrae, for this opportunity, and I will put the money to good use. The first 10% will go to World Vision, my charity of choice.
There you go.
Hands up all those who think that will happen.
I would like to see someone take him to court on it, though. It would be an interesting one. Unlike that other one that went to court, which was never going to win, because obviously the way that one was written was, it was a silly court case to take him on. But this one, I think, is a bit different. So you might be able to win this one.
Thank you, Clive. And God created the tropical gap on the third day.
On the third? No, it was not the third. It was initial day. It was, isn't that Lindsay? It was first day. Tropical Gap was first. And he separated the two domes and saw it was a whole lot of rubbish, so he threw that one away and created the universe that we know of. And that's the way it goes, something like that.
Which god would this be?
The god of the heavens and the tropical gaps, of course.
What, you mean Zeus?
Zeus. Well, Zeus
Or
can't.
blind
Well, Zeus was the stolen god, so I always think Kronos is the most interesting because Kronos was the father of Zeus, wasn't he? Or am I mixing my Greek and Roman?
I don't know. I can't remember. I know more about the Discworld gods than I do the Greek gods.
Yeah, no, because I know Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus were brothers, and Kronos was their father, or whatever the equivalent Greek, Roman / names were, because I keep getting them mixed up.
Hermes, now known as every.
There you go. So,
Quite possibly the worst delivery service.
Hermes. Yeah.
Yes, that was delivery company over here in the UK. They used to be called Hermes. They now rebranded themselves every. I don't know why they're still shit.
Do you want to see?
Oh, cool. I tried to leave your package. Yeah, I was here waiting for it.
Yes. Well, all of them do that.
Okay, TikTok.
Okay.
I will give somebody 15.
This is Dan's version of that. Hang on, we'll skip this one a bit because.
Oh, he responded to Dan, didn't he?
Oh, did he? Oh, I haven't got
Yes.
that. I'll have to look that one. So he goes through.
Yeah, he responded to Dan and basically said, "Oh no, this, I've had to look at this and this has been played with and photoshopped and all the rest of it." It's like, yeah, whatever. JPEG compression isn't a thing.
That's Toon. Hang on a sec. Where's Dan gone? Where's Dan? Dan the man.
Yeah, Dan put that up the other day. Sure it was this week.
Yeah, no, I've got it. I just, for some reason it went.
The Flat
There we
Earth Monetary Challenge.
Here we go. This is Dan. That'll be him. So, get past the.
Oh, Alan's doing this Unity game.
Yeah. Let's get past his advertising. Right, here we go.
There we go. Just the first day.
Now, over the years, I've attempted to claim many of these challenges. From £10,000.
There's my money, right next to my mouth.
Good one.
And Giles, who's an architect,
I remember him.
who's emailing me with all these long, convoluted, waffly equations, which I don't need.
Of course you don't.
Just deny the fact that these three levels, the water level, the laser level and the spirit level, cannot be used infinitum in any direction.
To $200,000.
Flat Earth Millionaire has got a challenge out for all the Globers to prove we live on a spinning ball.
The challenge, there's three main parts. We want to see replication using the scientific method, observing, measuring, and repeating water sticking to a ball. It didn't even have to be spinning. We just want to see water conforming to the exterior of a ball. The second is I want to see where sea level, where the physics of water finding maintaining level, go from sea level being level and flat, a flat surface, to convex. We want to see where sea level turns to sea curve. Okay, having a vacuum chamber next to a pressurized system, gas pressure, air pressure, atmospheric pressure, doesn't matter without a solid barrier.
But it does matter. That's why they're a separate definition.
Okay, here's my $1 million challenge to any Globe.
As if he was ever going to have $1 million.
The autopilot
I bet this guy could get $20
programs in airplanes make minute adjustments for curvature and for Coriolis effect in flight.
But alas, to every single one I've
we don't
replied
claim they
to,
do.
none of them have delivered on their promise.
Just normal
I've even made my own Flat Earth challenge, complete all three parts of the challenge, and this very $5,000 is yours. My email address will be in the description, so please do let me know via that if you manage to complete the challenge. Honestly, The challenge is impossible because the Earth isn't flat, but it'll be fun to watch them try. Still waiting for a successful entry there. So let's look at this new challenge, shall we? It all started one day when I saw this TikTok from a guy called Ryan. Now, some of you might recognise him because he's already appeared on a few of my shorts. Let's have a look at this challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, TikTok. I will give somebody $15,000. Okay, TikTok. I will give somebody.
Oh, all right. I'm with it. Okay. Where we stopped.
Would you, Adam, believe it? He actually took the time to make a TikTok response to my entry. Let's check it out.
All right, guys, let's look at the 1966 photo that was submitted to say that this is not edited and it's a picture of the entire Earth. Well, I simply do a little bit of cropping here, and let's look at this moon, shall we? Let's play with the exposure. Let's just simply take this down and crop it, and already you can start to see, what is that? What is this, guys? Straight line here, straight line here, straight line here, straight line at the top. Now, let's just keep playing with the colors just a little bit.
Well, you could have it, even
Clearly,
if it was
this
photo
is an
manipulated.
Image, not a photo. Edited image, not a photo.
Wrong.
You can do this with anything that NASA puts out. You can look at this.
These people shouldn't even be allowed.
That is undeniable edited proof. Wow, boy, look at that perfect cube. Kind of like a black cube that certain people worship. Oh yeah, perfect black cube. Check. Check, please.
Now, if Ryan knew anything about compression artifacts on JPEGs, then he would know that his argument is completely ridiculous. Now, I took a screenshot of Ryan from one of his many videos on TikTok. As you can see, it's a simple image of him sitting in his room. Now, I sent this to my wife, bless her, on WhatsApp, and she sent it back, and that compressed the file a bit. Then I resaved it on my Mac as a JPEG, and then sent it back to my phone. Now, we know that this is a compressed JPEG now. And then I decided to play with the levels a little bit, just like he did. And wow, what is that line around your head, Ryan? You have clearly CGI'd yourself into the room that you're sitting in. You see my point, Ryan? Compression artifacts are a thing. And unless you're looking at the proper raw image, you're always going to get that in some way. So how about this, Ryan? Try and find the raw file for that photo and try your little trick again. Then see if you can get that perfect little cube of pixels that you claim makes it an edited image. Now additionally, that photo was taken by a spin scan camera on the ATS-1 satellite. Now that camera uses a telescope and it sends the images back via radio waves. A year later, on board the ATS-3 satellite, NASA took the first ever colour image of the Earth on the 10th of November 1967 using the same technique. So I will resubmit my entry and use this photo instead. I will excitedly await for my $15,000, Ryan. Well, there we go. What do we think on that one, everyone? Have I done enough there to claim that 15K, or is Ryan going to try and get out of it again? Let me know what you think in the comments below. But for now, we're all done and dusted for another flash.
Yeah, he's going to get out of it.
Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Because then he'll say, oh, but it's not a real photo because it was digital. It's not the entire Earth. So I think if I was going to make a claim, I'd be more along Toon's line of picking photos that were taken with actual film as opposed to a digital. Because you've got a physical proof, then you can't sort of try and say, how do we know it wasn't digitally manipulated? Yeah, that's what I'd use.
You can go and see the negatives.
And take
anything
it to court.
from the Apollo mission, honestly.
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's all taken on real cameras with film, which they've got. They look after, and it shows as much as the Earth as you can possibly see in any one go.
Yeah.
But he'll have some half-assed bloody argument. But all of these, all the same, they make these ridiculous challenges, and you know full well they will never pay ever.
No. No.
Let alone Mr. sitting in front of his water heater saying, "Oh, here's $1 million challenge. Oh, you've got $1 million."
As if he. And first of all, he's challenged for things we don't say happens anyway. So it's only things flat earthers say happens. Yeah, we don't say planes make minute adjustments for Coriolis because they're too worried about wind shear and other things.
Yeah.
They're far more important things to them, and it just all balances out. Silly man.
Oh, they never put the nose down to follow the curve of the Earth. Well, you can't scale. You don't know how big the Earth is, and planes don't fly like that. They generally have the nose up attitude anyway.
Yeah, that's right. I did notice Creaky had a go at that too, but I won't bother.
That's Friday. Thank you so
sorry.
much for what.
Whoops, sorry.
I watched Creaky for a while. I need to catch up at some point.
Yeah, he's still okay. Yeah, he's become it's one of those things I've sort of come and go on him. He was doing something recently on. You guys would have heard about the Piano Man, and he's run-ins with the Chinese, non-Chinese people, whatever they were.
Oh yeah.
That's Creaky gone. I had him here. Let's run away. Where are you, Creaky? I did see FTFE. I haven't watched FTFE for months and months. Whereas Alan hasn't watched it for months and months too. I know.
He was supposed to have. Well, he was supposed to have a discussion the other night, and whoever it was just didn't turn up. I don't think.
Debating for my brain.
Well, of course, that's getting more and more common with all the flirts, isn't it?
Yeah. They'll big it up in Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, and you say, okay, then here's a date and a time. No.
I noticed he's just.
You won't debate me. No, you won't debate because
This
it's
one's-
on the shreds, and you know.
This one's just. This is something I've noticed happens with.
Oh.
MC Toon is a link to flatearth.ws, and this is coming from FTFE's channel. So.
Or endorsements of their false belief. But nothing could be further from the truth. Sadly, they are so blinded that they don't realize that they are the butt of the jokes. Here's a real video taken during Apollo 15. Here is Imagine Dragons mocking the moon hoaxers. Family Guy gets in on the parody, and of course, James Bond mocks the hoaxers too. The moon landing was a remarkable achievement backed by extensive evidence and third-party confirmations. The Apollo missions involved meticulous planning, groundbreaking technology, and the collective efforts of thousands of engineers.
Yeah, I think I've heard that one before a few times. Oh, here's Paul.
I am here.
Hello.
How are the ducks?
Yeah, they're all comfortable.
Oh, good. No one's run over you. No one's run into your water mains this year. Your sprinkler system. Good. No,
Going to be even hotter tomorrow, though. 39 here tomorrow.
Oh, right. We were hot here. I don't know if we were that hot. I think it was warm though, I've got to admit. So
we're in double figures.
We had 31 today, which is not as hot as you guys.
We had 35, I think, today.
Yeah.
I've got 11.
I don't even get down. I don't even get down to 11 in the night.
No, it's not even going to get that low tonight. In fact, it's going to get down to about double that tonight.
Yeah.
So cameras, we're going to get down to 14. So that's cooler than you guys. So yeah.
Google says partly cloudy, 13. And it most definitely is partly cloudy because it's really driving me mad trying to keep up with the exposure on my webcam.
Well, clouds are going by at a fair old lick.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, Paul, you're just in time for a proper Lindsay bingo.
Ah, damn.
Never wondered why.
Nip out and do something.
Yeah, I was going to play a few of his shorts, though. Let's see how many shorts we have to get through. Oh, good day, Mr. 42. How many shorts we have to get through before...
Mr. 42 is coming on the right account now.
Oh, yes. Oh, the colour cat. Yes. Why is there a Mr. 32 clone in Mr. 42? I smell a Dutchman. Okay. So we're just coming. Hang on, let me dump out the Lindsay Bingo. Because I have to go in there. Blah, 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 blah. Put that up there. Come on. There we go. Now I can post that to the chat. Usually works. Let's have a look. Yeah. Good. That looking good.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blue's just got in. Blue heard that I had Lindsay Bingo on and wanted to join. So he's just come at the right time to make sure he gets in on Lindsay Bingo. Because Blue's yet to win Lindsay Bingo, so he's determined to win a Lindsay Bingo, aren't you, Blue? How are you, mate? Have you had a good week? He's not talking to us yet. He will in a bit. Oh dear. So that's my card. Oh, I got a Miracle Chord. I should play that one we just had.
Yeah.
Let's drag that out. We're ready to go. Okay. All those, we're ready to go up there in the peanuts. Hopefully. Alright, let's see how we go. You ready? Got your cards up, farmers?
Yeah,
Paul?
yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's go.
How
Ready to
Earth
rock and
gets
roll.
its energy, why it's warm in the tropics, cold in the Arctics. Well, it's all convection, magnetic induction actually. The wind, by convection, drives the magnetic field. The magnetic field is in the wind, a bit more regulated or constant than the window. What happens is the wind comes out of the Arctic, swings around in a curve and comes up to the Tropic of Capricorn, and out of the north swings around, comes to the Tropic of Cancer. You can get online and see these images in meteorology, right? So I'm not pulling your leg, it all works that way. The Egyptians told us that the magnetic field is in the wind. So you can imagine the magnetic field moving towards the tropics, either side of the tropics, Capricorn and Cancer. Well, metaphorically and metaphysically, those points on either side are basically capacitor plates, as what we know in the physical world. You've got to imagine, you know, the makeup of Earth is just not physical. Nothing is actually physical in our realm. Only down here, on the plane of Earth, on Terra or thereabouts, everything is perceived as physical. It's just the way we've been created. That old silicon chip in our brain. 5, 6 senses. Okay? 5 for most, because most are half brain dead. They have no concept of the 6th sense. Well, imagine those two tropical lines represent the metaphysical capacitor plates. See, in physics you'd have a North Pole magnet on one side and a South Pole magnet on the other. And you get the gap just right, and you use a changing magnetic field, because our system is electromagnetic, so it obviously has a changing magnetic field. Well, as the field comes over from the south and avoids this tropical zone, it goes straight down through the Earth and crosses over.
Gap, surely.
And same with the other side, from the northern hemisphere to the south, it crosses over. Because below Earth, the magnetic field does not cross the tropics. See, globies don't tell you that. They're munted, they're brain dead. You know, science tells you the magnetic field is strong at the poles and very weak in the equator. They don't tell you that there's no magnetic field crossing the tropics at all. It's the build-up on either side that creates your magnetic field for your compass to follow, a direct path north to south. That's why it's direct in the tropics. It's not direct outside of the tropics, okay? It's a curving magnetic field. Everything curves in the toroidal field of the Earth. Well, where the magnetic field builds up on the tropics there, it's creating the electromagnetic induction where it like changes polarity as it crosses over, as a boost in the magnetic field. And that's happening, you know, every minute, every second, or whatever. And that forms the sun, creates the sun. This is one version. There's more stories to this. You just got to accept one at a time and put them all together. There's several ways to tell the story. That's the sun, the image that we see. So you can imagine that's how it's been created. And as the wind's driving around to meet at the tropics, it's driving the whole rotation. So the sun is flowing around. You've got to understand that the sun we see is at the end of the Milky Way. This end of it, you know, the tropical end of the Milky Way, but the other end goes up. It goes up and over into the centre Arctic, to the real sun, the real unseen plasma sun. We really get an image to the light spectrum. All the real actions back in the centre vortex of creation. That's the house, the engine. Okay, that's where the motor is, and we're only seeing the wheels turn out in our physical realm. Everything turning around the tropics there. We are led to believe, because on a practical level, by the understanding of the simple mind, the human mind, in a physical sense, that's how it would work. We sort of replicate that sort of thing down on Earth in physics, electrical engineering and all that. But if you understand the tokamak plasma reactor and all that, how they feed the plasma has to be in a confined, tight magnetic field. Well, that's what's happening back in the centre Arctic. It's a tight magnetic field. Because that zone, that high pressure zone up high, is outside of our pressurized zone of our perceived physical realm. Okay? So where we see our sun, or we assume it's there, in the tropical gap there, it's all due to moisture. There's moisture flowing up to the tropical gap. That's the low pressure zone. Okay? It's the lowest pressure zone on the Earth.
Yes.
And what happens is the water that's flowing from underneath the Earth gets energized as it's moving through. Like, imagine it flowing through rapids. Gets energized, the molecule gets energized, and it wants to seek out the lowest pressure medium. So it rises up through the tropics, and it goes through a changing state as it rises through ionization. You know, lightning, all that sort of stuff. It's being drawn up, and it gets to a certain point where it's been completely shredded, the hydrogen molecule, and then reforms again when it hits the high pressure zone. And now it's up there at the high pressure zone, reformed into helium, hydrogen and helium gas to feed the sun. It gets sucked into the low pressure black hole centre above the Arctic Circle.
Black hole.
That's what draws it in. The black hole, the centre of a black hole or a vortex is low pressure. Well, it's recombined above the tropics here in the high pressure and gets dragged over into that low pressure zone. That's only one side of the Milky Way. There's another end to it. See, that's the male side, male end. There's a female end that goes from the plasma sun in the centre Arctic straight down the vortex to the centre Arctic, down towards the Buford Gyre. Buford Gyre is a big rotation of fresh water. Where does that fresh water come from? In the salt sea of the Arctic.
Oh, the ice.
It comes from above. It falls like mist, light rain. It's all described in religion, mythological stories, you name it. And that vortex,
I need ancient
you look
secrets.
down on it, it's rotating clockwise. But if you take a vortex and look down and then go look up, what's it doing up and north? Anti-clockwise. It's all connected. That vortex is connected with the
Is
Buford
up
Gyre.
towards the north or up
And
towards
it's
the
all mirrored.
sky?
The whole vortex in the centre north is mirrored to the southern hemisphere. All around the southern hemisphere. So that rotation that moves the stars, because all the stars and all the celestial bodies are in that vortex, you know.
Or spiritual
it's outside
awakening.
of our realm. It's in there and it's always turning. It's sending a picture all the way around the south. because it's centralised, it's got an image out to the south everywhere.
Is he going around in a
Southern
circle?
Hemisphere is going to see his nighttime star rotation, or the movement of the stars, all due to the fact they're turning back there in the north. It's a parabolic projection, because the southern hemisphere, it's just
He said Egyptians, Clive.
like the flux of a ring magnet, the curves on.
Hang on a sec. Let's got to clarify.
Did he?
Clive, he said Egyptian because I marked it off. You talked about how the ancient Egyptians had all this marked up. So he said Egyptians. So does that mean you've got bingo, Clive? Need to give him a few seconds. We've got 50 seconds.
I need Orion's belt.
Do you? I need ancient secrets. Okay, so keep going.
Good
just
old
for a little
Adel.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had 4.
Perimeter creates this
Hang on a sec.
mirrored
Wait
concave
a
mirror
minute.
effect
50 seconds
to
left.
create a parabolic projection back to the observer in the southern hemisphere. It comes back to his eyesight right there. It's right there on his horizon. A nice rotation if you stay on a north to south meridian and use, star trail photography. You get a nice star circle of stars. Okay, that's the guts of it all, guys. Look into it. Check out my channel at Meta369. Okay, it's a YouTube channel at Meta369.
What?
Check it out. Think about joining up my Patreon too. You get a bit more.
You got a different channel.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See ya.
That's like Clive's got bingo. At Meta369, what's he talking about? I was. Did he say ancient secrets or spiritual awakening?
Don't think
He did
so.
not say ancient secrets.
Nah, he didn't say that. So I'm still trying to confirm because if Clive just needed Egyptians, he definitely said Egyptians. Then,
He did definitely say Egyptians. I'll confirm that.
yeah. So we'll see. I just need an answer, Clive. Do you have bingo, or do we have to watch the next one? This is the question. So yes, I was trying to work out. Oh yes, there, but Blue Marble's calling bingo. Okay, we'll call bingo. That's fine. Oh, here we go.
Well, I wasn't playing, but I'll
You
claim
call it.
anything. That's to avoid
Yeah,
listening to another one.
look, get Clive has bingo. This is Clive's card, and if he got Egyptians, he definitely said Milky Way and male and vortex and magnetic field. So there we go.
Yep.
You no longer have to watch Lindsay walk around in a circle. I have a feeling he's walking around in a circle. Because just that's how.
Was Lindsay lost, or what happened? How did he get out there?
Yeah,
he's
how
been
did
doing a
he
lot
get
of.
out?
But
They leave
see,
the door unlocked or something?
yeah,
Must have done.
that's what I was trying to work out. It could be the Long Beach. They do have nice long beaches in over there. So I think it's him trying to obviously get more money out of his channel. But
Yeah.
I was trying to work out. Is he saying he's got a different channel than Tomb of Illumination? Because, or does he just want people to? That's what he sounded like. Yeah, let's see if I can pick that up again.
Okay, that's the guts of it all, guys. 9. Okay, it's a YouTube channel at.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, it's a YouTube channel at Meta369. Check it out.
YouTube channel at Meta369.
Yeah, if you go to his YouTube channel, Tomb of Illumination,
Yeah, hang on, look at that.
it's
Yeah.
labelled as at Meta369. If you actually click on if you go to his channel,
Yeah.
there you go.
Oh,
at
that's his.
Meta369.
Oh,
Nearly
okay.
7,500 subscribers, 7,500 people who just subscribed to laugh at him.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. YouTube / I see. So if you do this link, you get. That's what he's trying to say. At Meta 369. So same channel. But if you just told people to go to Tomb of Elimination, they would have found it too. Oh well, so that'll be. So Blue, how are you? Let me close the mini chat.
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. What you been up to the last couple of weeks? Anything exciting?
Nothing much. Just aggravating people.
Yeah.
Dear. I had a little bit of Bev to play tonight. Are you going? What were you going to say?
I've been poking those guys over at Bev's place in the eye on a frequent basis.
Good man.
Man, they get upset.
So you should.
I am learning things, though. I am. I
Yes.
found out that my AutoCAD program is amazing.
All
It
right.
knows which way up is.
Does it?
Wow.
I had the stupidest
Yeah,
argument
funny.
with Mike Jones you could ever imagine. That idiot actually thinks that the coordinate system in a CAD program is oriented somehow or the other. And you're
Okay.
obligated for it to yeah. The z-axis
Well,
has to be up according to Mike.
It is
Then it
orientated in a particular way. It's the way you tell it you want it.
You can have it inverted and mirrored if you wanted to.
The funniest part about it was he posted an example to prove he was right, only it had the y-axis up.
Yeah, that was my head said, and it's like, no, hang on a minute. That's right.
Way to go, Mikey.
Have to find that one. Yeah, I did.
You know,
Yeah.
even when you're working on a plan of something, you know, Z tends to be up towards you because that's the height, because you're looking down on a plan, aren't you? So,
Well, it's
yeah.
sort of literally what a plan is, but what's an elevation then? If you're looking at it from the side, it's no longer going up.
Some of it stems from the fact that in 2D mode you're going to have an XY axis. That's typical, right?
Yeah.
Normal XY, and that means that if you switch to 3D, Z would have been into and out of the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So now X and Y, the XY axis is not the plane that you would normally think of as being a horizontal, right?
Yeah.
So people will flip those things around to make the Z axis be vertical if they want it that way. But who cares? It doesn't matter.
No.
Just an axis. Doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't have to be coming out.
I asked Mikey which way he thought up on a pipe wrench was. What if I'm drawing a picture of making a drawing of a pipe wrench? Which way is up?
Yes.
Would the wrench care?
Sorry, Blue.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, and can't we just call? Can't I just call them cyan, magenta, and yellow anyway? If I really want to.
Yeah, you could call it anything you like.
Well, East and
Apples,
Northern.
oranges, apples, orange, and banana.
It makes me
Anything.
laugh that he keeps quoting AutoCAD because he thinks he knows about it. He's got some shares in Autodesk, but he thinks he knows how AutoCAD works, and he quite clearly hasn't got a clue. He's got no idea how you draw anything. He's got no experience of the construction industry, and yet he'll keep going on about architectural engineering equations.
Yeah, he doesn't
know. He claims his wife is an architect or a designer or something. I don't know. But she apparently uses Revit. Okay.
All right.
Well,
He doesn't know
Revit is an architectural package.
Yeah.
I agree.
Who uses Revit? Mikey.
Not Mikey.
No, his wife.
No. Revit's quite a. Oh, yeah. That's some heavy going. You can do anything in Revit.
No, you can't.
I mean,
There's a lot you can't do in Revit. There's a reason why. There's a reason why I don't. There's a reason. There's a reason why I don't use Revit to design roads. I can tell you. I can tell you, it doesn't
Revit
handle
is
curves and
building-
parabolics very well.
Yeah, it's a building information management package.
Yeah.
That's one of the best.
It has taken off
No
because
doubt.
you can create a lot of components, so you can build all these basically elements and drag things in and drop them. Well, for want of a better word, and particularly for architecture, it's a great way to work. It can speed up the process immensely. So.
Oh yeah, because you can coordinate so many different other aspects of construction, not just the drawing package.
Yes, that's right.
Fortunately, where I'm starting, I don't have to know Revit. But all I could do is open up Revit and export a 2D projection of something, so I can then use it. Because I don't know Revit.
But I think, being an Autodesk package, I would be surprised if Revit was any different than AutoCAD in terms of the axes.
It's not. It's
you
the
can
same.
probably orient them any way you want to.
You define it. Yeah. Generally, of course, obviously, building it works on people use the building process of X and Y in the ground and Z vertical, but
Yeah, but most general contractors are bright enough to know that the roof goes on top and the foundation goes on the bottom. You don't really have to tell people that.
No. But,
they certainly don't go looking for the UCS icon to figure out where the fucking roof is.
But yes, if he gets into mechanical drafting, then that whole thing goes out. Because, it's completely arbitrary to when whoever designs the object. So whatever they decide is up. Yeah.
Up's whichever way you want it to be.
Sometimes if they're designing spheric objects that they're going to use on the lathe, they'll have up vertical. Sometimes they'll have it to use the x-axis. It all depends on how they want to enter that into their machinery. So.
Yeah, the one exception I could think of, and I'm not sure how all that works, if you get one of those packages that ties into something like a finite element analysis package, where it's also taking into account gravity loads. I don't know if you can define which axis.
Yes, you do.
Or the direction of gravity, or if it's built into it. That would be the only exception.
Well,
I think of.
You'd probably get templates, but I've done some of that in 3D, and we're using particle physics, etc., for animation, and you define what direction gravity is in your model.
Yeah. I think that's always that would make sense.
Because you can actually change it. For animation, you can change gravity so that you can go sideways if you want the particle, like for whatever the purposes of your animation. You can have it attract to the side rather than down. If you're doing obviously simulation of an actual real world event, then you have it the way that we observe it in the real world. So, but it is a standard definition. I do have I haven't played Bev on the channel for a while. I did have this a little bit. This is him arguing with Nathan Oakley.
Angular size won't give you distance. You need to either know the distance or know its actual size. That's what you need. And you don't have either, Bob, do you?
And it was actually pretty accurate.
No. It won't give you anything. There's no accuracy by way of just looking at the size of something by way of its angle. That doesn't give you anything. You either need to know its actual size to begin with, or its actual distance.
How do you draw a circle with an angle?
Understand? It was an argument against his assertion that you can do nothing with an angle. You can. You can save your life at sea by measuring that angle to the star. Communication of an angle that you've measured, that's not doing something with it, right? Don't be fucking retard, you spastic, you dumbo, thick fuck.
I did concede.
Shut up, Owen!
Not much.
You can do fuck all with an angle.
Really? How do you find your horizontal then?
Exactly. And the point was, they're talking about one thing that doesn't mean you can. The other things are completely different. Yeah. There you go. That's perfect.
Bev knows what he's doing. That's why he starts with a horizontal and then derives a vertical from it, which of course
Yes.
in the real world you do it the other way around.
Well,
which
you
is
have
how
to-
you can do something with an angle.
Well, that's what I said. How do you define a horizontal? Well, you establish a vertical, and then you go.
First
Yeah.
establish your vertical. Perpendicular to that, one angle is your horizontal. But you can do fuck all with an angle.
Yes.
Yeah, Bev, whatever.
It's a bit like that. Well, I do have. That was Bev. So it didn't be Bev. I do have Mr. Oh, I haven't played CC yet. Where is he? 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 Kyle Adams.
Oh God, he's as bad.
Poor Kyle.
Poor Kyle.
I'm Kyle Adams.
And I'm Karina Adams. I'm Alina Adams. I'm Melody Adams. I'm Nolan Adams. Yes.
And today we are putting our world to the test at Dixie State University. Previously, I produced several videos talking about Einstein's equivalence principle. In them, we talked about how Einstein claimed that falling objects don't actually fall. According to him, they stand still in the air, and the Earth rises up to meet them. No, we did not make this up. Both Dr. Perezga's here.
Why they always
yes,
think that.
That's not what it's about. No.
and the world-renowned astrophysicist Brian Cox vouched for us on that. Here are some links in case you missed them and would like to look more into that. Anyway, one of our major claims against that was, if our weight was caused by the acceleration of the Earth beneath our feet, then we would all weigh the same amount, for we would all be accelerating at the same rate. We base this reasoning on the claim that when we ride in a car, all passengers feel the same amount of pressure when the car accelerates. And in order for one passenger to feel a different amount of pressure, they would have to be accelerating faster than another passenger.
Wrong. It's No, that's not right.
So today we're going to start off by putting that claim to the test. Here I have two different scales of different masses. And we're going to stand them
Build a
upright
straw
in
man
the
and then
backseat of my
stealth run.
car and zero them out. Then we are going to accelerate and see if they both register the same amount of pressure acting on them. Just so you know, scale number 1 weighs 13.6 ounces, and scale number 2 weighs 1 pound and 9.8 ounces. All right, hold on. I've got two scales in the car. They're both zeroed out, standing upright. Let's go.
Going 30 miles an hour.
Okay, you can stop now. Okay, perfect. Here's a screenshot from when they reached their climax. And from the looks of it, I was wrong. They are both registering
shit.
different amounts of pressure. However, there is a possibility that there could be a technical malfunction taking place here because the scales were not exactly designed to weigh things in the vertical position like this. So we're going to obtain a second witness by doing another experiment. Dixie.
It's never occurred to him that the actual pressure plates could weigh different, not the actual scales themselves that makes it different. But anyway.
State University has a 5-story elevator in their Jeffrey R. Holland building. So we're going to go for a ride and see how much our weight changes as we accelerate upward in the elevator. Okay, we've got Melody on the scale here, and we've zeroed out the scale. Go ahead and push the 5. We're going to go on up.
We're going.
Stay still, Melody, don't move. Going up. Okay, that's good. That's Melody.
Alright.
Now here's me on the scale, and sorry the kids were walking around in the elevator and caused it to shake a little bit. And it's going to probably fluctuate a little bit, but I'm going to just see.
About 15 pounds.
That's...
You gain 15 pounds.
You need to do it at the same time.
And then you lose almost 15 pounds.
And next up we have Raina. Right, 4 to 5. 5 floors up, here we go. 3. Oh, it barely moved. Alright, I was wrong. Even though the elevator was applying the exact same amount of force on each of us and causing us all to accelerate at the same rate, we all felt different amounts of pressure, or G-force, acting on us. So we will go ahead and toss the argument that if the Earth is accelerating upward, we should all weigh the same amount into the graveyard.
No.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
That is fascinating, because that tells me the speed in a centrifuge applies different amounts of G-force on different people depending on their mass. And that tells me smaller people have to reach greater speeds in order to reach the same amount. My roller coasters make me sick now, but they didn't used to when I was a kid.
Your tea's going to be strong enough.
He just consistently gets things wrong.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Every single video he does, he gets things wrong.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
let's pick up the
motion,
pieces.
in circular motion, acceleration is v squared on r. There's no m. There's no m there.
No mass.
There is no.
Yeah. Well, again.
Figure out the implications of all this. Do I suddenly now believe that the Earth is actually accelerating upward like Einstein claimed?
He didn't.
No. This just proves that if the Earth is accelerating upward, different objects can weigh different amounts. Although, there is a little more to Einstein's claim here. He claimed that falling objects are weightless despite the fact that they have mass. When we zeroed out the scales here, that didn't just magically make us weightless. Our weight was still being applied to the scale, and when we got off it, the scale would go into the negative numbers. We just zeroed out the scale while we were on it to see exactly how much our weight changed as we accelerated upward. Now let's go back and remember the words of the astronaut Mike Massimino.
I'm Mike Massimino, and this is how health is different in space. I was an astronaut for 18 years. I flew in space 2 times, 2 missions on the space shuttle. Weights aren't going to work very well in space. You can take an object that weighs 600 pounds and pick it up with 1 finger because everything's floating, it's weightless. So you want to be pulling against something for a resistive exercise workout, like a spring or something that has some resistance to it, because that works just fine in space, but actual weights won't.
Actual weights don't work in space because everything is weightless. You have to use a spring because an actual weight won't provide any resistance when you lift it. So following that line of reasoning, if the Earth were to likewise lift a weightless object, the weight should likewise not provide any resistance.
That's not what he just
However,
said. You said it was
as
falling
we
objects that are
observed,
weightless.
weights on Earth do provide resistance. So, does this kill 2 birds with 1 stone here? Let's tread this ground carefully. Einstein claimed falling objects are weightless, and Dr. Perezgues said our weight could be seen like the backward jolt we feel on a train. So a falling object would be weightless, but would still provide resistance, meaning a weightless object could be heavy, as oxymoronic as that sounds. This simply means that I could hold out a weight and never tire because the weight would be weightless.
No.
But if I were to move the weight, then I would feel it resist the movement. This appears to be Einstein's get-out-of-jail-free card. and I'll accept it, as oxymoronic as a weightless weight sounds. That makes me think back to the 2 upright scales in the car. With the exception of air pressure, there was no horizontal force acting on the scales, meaning they were horizontally weightless until they were put into motion. However, Mike Massimino doesn't have a get-out-of-jail-free card. He said a weightless weight wouldn't provide any resistance, and I agreed with him on that concept. So when I was proven wrong, that means I get to take him down with me.
Hey, no.
And since Mike was wrong, that means Mr. Coyote would have something to worry about if he was accelerating upward toward a massive weightless anvil. But at least that disproves NASA. So I think that's a pretty decent consolation prize. I also find myself still thinking about his name. Massimino. I wonder if that's his real name. Is it just a coincidence here that the word Mino means to confuse, disorient, or make people lose their way? Okay, so have my claims against Einstein been utterly defeated? No. Let's take a look at my remaining claims that still stand. According to Einstein's curvy space-time gravity wells, if I were to just stand next to a massive object, I should feel heavier. Let's disprove that here and now with an observation. All right, here I'm going to weigh myself next to a car. There's my scale.
What an idiot.
Stay still. There we go. 190.
I mean, how much can you get wrong in this demonstration? It just shows that he's
I'm
an
going to pick
absolute
this up
moron
and go out
that knows
away from the
nothing
car and
about
see if it says something different.
This is like...
Okay. Sneak away from the car. Does it say something different over here? 190. All right, I weigh the same.
Still got the same mass underneath you, mate.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, your scales don't measure horizontal
On that same
forces,
note,
Kyle.
according to Einstein's gravity well theory, more massive objects should fall faster than less massive objects because they have a steeper incline in the gravity well. So the Brian Cox experiment, where a bowling ball and a feather dropped in a vacuum and fell at the same rate, that should debunk Einstein's gravity well theory.
No.
But Einstein also claimed in his equivalence principle that falling objects don't actually fall. The Earth rises up to meet them. So with that, Einstein's equivalence principle contradicts his gravity well theory.
I got some more explaining to do.
You got some explaining to do, Neil.
Thank you. I could not have said that better myself. Thank you all for watching. This video has been...
There you go. Is that fun?
Oh, man. He's literally top left on that topic.
Yeah, it's just so much out of place. I like the, if I stand next to a heavy object, even though the object is to the side of me, somehow I will be more heavier on the scale. Yeah, right. Take the scale at the top of Everest and see if you get a different weight, because you got more mass under you. Then you might have something to argue with.
I don't know where they get this nonsense about the Earth rising up to meet things from.
No.
I wonder where that originated from.
That's not equivalent, part of the equivalency stuff, is it? I'm no way near an expert on that. I don't recall ever hearing that.
Has to come from somebody totally misunderstanding the equivalence principle.
Yeah, because I mean, like, consider two people on opposite sides of the Earth that drop something simultaneously. How the fuck can the Earth simultaneously rise to meet both of them?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You still got the object attracting you underneath both of them, and that's and that's where he's getting it all wrong. And that was the driving in the car. He thinks that the weight of the scales is that's the thing that would be acting on the pressure plate, not the scale itself. Like he didn't even understand that. Yeah, so that somehow the scales would be perfect. It doesn't work that way.
And like, how the hell does he think that standing beside something will exert more downwards force on him? I mean, really?
Oh,
God.
He also all the way through was messing up mass and weight and didn't understand that, weight.
Yeah. Oh, he's got that totally confused. I think special relativity is just a bridge too far for those guys.
Yeah, exactly. Let alone general relativity.
Yeah, let alone general relativity.
Well, if you get confused by weight and mass, what are you even looking at relativity for?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, well, even Galilean relativity gets them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, he's not, let's say, very good at that.
He's got no understanding of physics whatsoever. Not a jot.
Well,
and I've just looked at that video, and the only comment that's been left by so far is by somebody who I didn't know was still around. Orphan Red.
All right.
I saw her leave a comment somewhere the other day. I forgot now where I saw it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen her or any sort of sound out of her in a long time.
I find it hard to think that he's had 62 views. It was only 20 hours ago, but it's only got one comment. That doesn't sound right to me. So,
wow.
Let's just say
I've got a funny feeling he might be one of those ones who deletes comments. I'm not sure.
Well, I have a feeling he was the one I saw leave a message, the instructional video on how to use the new YouTube, where you can review all comments before they're put up. So you decide which comments go up, as opposed to deleting them.
That would do it.
Yeah. So, yes, I think that's why you don't see many comments. Yes. Well, there's a good question. Why are we the only place with road trains? Right, just saw this in the click down there.
Australia is known for its unique and
New trains. Sorry, distracted by long trucks.
and feasibility check.
Anyway, we get back. Paul, I believe you do have
I just got
a
distracted
quiz.
by tanking Red Primer.
Oh, did you? No, road-related stuff. It was always going to just...
I just got a notification of, I want to see that one.
So who's winning
that's the shit barn that they're restoring.
So who's winning the Five Nations? Sorry.
I know, I've only had one match so far. That was last night. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I saw it on Netflix. I was going to say, Paul, I know you've got a hard quiz.
I do.
I was going to say,
want to do it now?
Yeah, let's do it now. I'll just play I do have a what's in the jiggy? Everett. So me here first. I was just going to throw that.
Right.
Throw that in the mix, and then we'll be all yours. Where are you, Mr. Everett? I'll make my list bigger.
All right.
Here he is. Come on. There we go.
Ireland hammered France last night. Good lads.
Let me just catch you up to speed. Space is fake. Antarctica is not a continent, but a giant ice wall that holds the oceans.
Maybe it's just gonna be a normal day.
Maybe it's just gonna be a normal day.
And the Earth is a flat, motionless plane covered by the firmament. The reason they want you to believe in space is so you don't believe in God. But the truth is, the Bible says that the earth is flat because the earth is flat. And to confirm that the earth is not a ball, Isaiah tells us that the earth is in the shape of a tent.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
Now, I've only gone camping a few times, but I have never seen a spherical tent.
I had a friend in Grenada. I called him Little Tater. One night he wouldn't stop screaming. He was gonna give away our position. I covered up his mouth and choked him out.
Okay. I've seen this cartoon all over TikTok, and I want to explain why this diagram is inaccurate.
Look at that sign up there.
Yes?
Does it say I give a damn?
No.
That's because I don't.
The first problem with the cartoon is that it shows curved water, but in reality, water is always in a straight line, and no matter the size, this would be impossible on a sphere.
Can you throw
Wearing
it
a
off the
bathrobe or is that a
ramparts,
straight jacket?
All right.
Not sure about that.
And how can anyone know that something is being affected by gravity when we ourselves cannot even prove that gravity exists?
Well then, you, my friend, are a jackass!
If gravity was real, everything would be sticking to the bottom of the ocean, but balloons debunk that myth.
I'm gonna have to be honest with you. I'm going deaf.
Going deaf?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It can be very frustrating.
What I do believe in is density, and when me and all the other Christians are called up to heaven, we will become as dense as the balloons.
I think they're already dense.
Very much.
Yeah, you there, buddy.
Got a brain in here. I thought I was alone. I'm God. Huh?
Stop skipping those Ritalin doses, too.
Yes, there you go. Well, Paul, I think we need something to counteract that. Are we ready to go?
Righto. I'm right to go. You just got to let me.
I'm not going to do that. That would be too easy. You have to hack into my system and change it. Okay, you should be right now.
Right.
Oh, just before you start, I wanted to acknowledge that Paul did win brilliant when we won the same round. He had a few thousand points ahead of me by the time we got to the end of that.
Yeah. Timbo found himself in the same league as me. I'm brilliant.
little friendly
He
battle.
tried
going.
hard. He tried hard.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last 2 days I couldn't get any time to sit there and get points.
Yeah, well, I was a bit the same.
Yeah, so you got there and
Anyway.
let's move on.
Righto. Right, so hard quiz. Here we go. Question 1. Theodore Duddell Newton and Eugene Wigner derived a massive relativistic form of this operator in terms of elements of the Poincare group. What operator would this be? Let's see if we've got any people that know their physics.
Well, it's not a...
I'm sure we give it a 30-second gap or so. Clive Wells will get the right answer.
All right. An operator describing a change in the eigenvalues of this operator is given by the exponential of the negative dot product of the change and the gradient. What
Dot
operator?
product of the change equivalent.
You will eventually get it. Of course, the first few clues are hard. For the quantum harmonic oscillator, this operator is proportional to the average of the creation and annihilation operators. Not angular momentum, no. The eigenfunctions of this operator are commonly expressed as Dirac delta functions. The commutator of this operator and momentum equals IH bar according to the canonical commutation relation, implying that the product of the standard deviations of their expectation values must be greater than H bar over 2. What operator? Not Logon poetry.
It's not a forklift operator. It's not a crane operator.
Name this vector quantity which cannot be simultaneously measured with momentum, according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Anyone know?
Position.
Position.
I didn't quite get it.
Clive got it. Clive got it. Position is the right one. Yes, that's the beast there. The position operator. Okay. Question 2. An account by Nicholas Garelli claims that processing materials used in this activity required hanging a pig by its feet and collecting the foam from its mouth.
Huh?
Yeah.
Squeal, little piggy. Like this little pig. Trying to string a pig up by its feet, that'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Live one, yeah.
The state sponsorship of this activity in Florence and Venice led Elizabethans to coin the verb Italianate to mean performing it. So if you Italianate someone, you do this. Left side. A prolific 17th century performer of this activity named Giulia Tofana cultivated a clientele of exclusively women. Not inoculation, no. In 1680, a fortune teller and midwife nicknamed La Voisin was believed to have performed this activity on behalf of Louis XIV's courtiers using inheritance powders. What are inheritance powders?
Inheritance powders.
Yeah. This craft was first brought from Italy to France by perfumers in the entourage of Catherine de' Medici, who was fond of gifting scented gloves.
Well, Sherman's not perfumery.
Using a hollow ring containing cantarella, Lucrezia Borgia was rumoured to have performed what means of murder, often done using vials brought from apothecaries.
Poisoning?
Poisoning.
Yeah, I knew you'd all get it from that clue.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
Yeah, poisoning.
Poisoning, yes. Poisoning, yeah. Alrighty.
Yes. Oh, there you go.
Okay. This controversy, and it is a controversy, was sidestepped with the creation of Deucalion, who can teleport and make coins disappear in a Dean Koontz series beginning with Prodigal Son.
Oh, Dean Koontz. I think I've read some of his stuff, but that was not a long time ago.
Prodigal
What is this controversy?
Prodigal Son.
Mm-hmm. The author weighed in on this controversy in a letter to Leigh Hunt, who approving of a dashed line in the text of Richard Brinsley Peake's play, Presumption. Mm-hmm. A solution to this controversy may be found in a scene atop the Montanvert Glacier, in which a character says, "I ought to be thy Adam." No? Okay, this controversy may have intensified after Peggy Webling's stage version of a novel was adapted by James Whale into a 1931 Universal film, whose various posters feature the title in large font next to a character portrayed in heavy makeup by Boris Karloff.
Frankenstein's monster?
Yeah, but what's the controversy?
What's the controversy?
About reanimation.
You're on the right track, Alan.
About reanimation?
Controversy. No.
A paranormal afterlife or something. What could it be?
Name this surprisingly acrimonious controversy over how to refer to a laboratory-generated creature in a Mary Shelley novel.
Well, the creature never had a name.
So
could
what
it
was
be
the controversy?
Could it be over what the creature's something silly, something like its origin, gender,
Whenever you think
race?
of Frankenstein, you automatically think of the monster, but Frankenstein was the doctor that created it.
That's right. That's what the controversy
It never had a name, did it?
Never had a
That's
name.
right. So the controversy is it Frankenstein or is it Frankenstein's monster?
Oh.
That's it.
All
right.
What's the controversy?
Well, how to refer to the monster.
Oh, right, well, it's Frankenstein's monster because it never had a name.
Or just,
or the monster.
Or just, well, he wasn't a monster arguably he wasn't a monster in the book. That was later on.
Yeah. But when you talk about Frankenstein to people, they automatically think of the monster, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Okay. The plausibility of this hypothesis is supported in a paper employing a bland indifference principle in an analogy about the likelihood that you have a particular sequence of junk DNA. What hypothesis is this? David Chalmers noted that if this hypothesis is plausible, then Cartesian dualism may also be plausible, despite contemporary objections. In an anthropic argument, another philosopher posited that this hypothesis's likelihood depends on the interest of a post-human civilization in
Would
its
that
ancestors'
be
lives and their
simulation?
computational capacity.
Would that be simulation? Would that be simulation?
It would
That we're
be
living in a simulation?
theory. Yes.
Yeah.
Well done. That argument about this hypothesis is Nick Bostrom's trilemma in Reason, Truth and History. Hilary Putman attempted to use the coherence argument to refute a thought experiment based on this hypothesis put forward by Gilbert Harman. Name this hypothesis explored with the brain in a vat thought experiment, which inspired its depiction in The Matrix. It is simulation theory,
and it looks like
a simulation.
Turing test got that about the same time. He's popped up after I said it, but given time lag, I think probably about the same time.
Yep. Yep. Well done. All right. This one. Since late 2011, this company has employed a heterogeneous multi-processing scheme that schedules lightweight tasks to one core and more difficult tasks to the other core. Which company? In May 2017, this company announced that its dynamic paradigm would replace Big Little. This company's architecture includes a current program status register whose T bit indicates whether a processor running this company's architecture should be in thumb mode. Not IBM. No.
Intel?
Not Intel.
No.
Not Apple. No. This company designs the
AMD.
Cortex. This company designs the Cortex M line of processors.
Never heard of them.
Oh,
I don't know if I know these. Go on.
the one that only designs processors doesn't build them. The British company.
Yeah,
Everyone's got it out in the chat.
Yeah, it looks like it.
This
yeah.
company's architecture is based on the Exynos 2100 and the Snapdragon 888 chipsets. Yeah. Acorn Computers designed the original version of this company's architecture, which implements a RISC instruction set, unlike x86. In 2020, Apple switched to using this British company's architecture in Macs. Now, this company that designs and shares its name with the architecture used in almost all smartphones. It is ARM. Yeah. All right.
There we go.
Question 6. A man in this novel swears to never eat fish again after being told how a school of fish devoured the carcass of a donkey.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No. If it rang a bell, that would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
Yes.
After its protagonist is soaked looking for bread during a storm, he rests his feet on a stove and falls asleep, waking to find them burned off.
No, not finding him.
No? Right, okay. Italo Calvino emulated this novel's narrative structure when writing The Path to the West of Spiders, whose protagonist's name is an abbreviation of this book's title character.
I don't know that novel. That doesn't help me at all.
No? Okay. This novel opens with the narrator saying, "Once upon a time there was," and imagining several kids yelling, "A king!" To which he responds, "No, children, you're wrong."
No, it's not jumping at me.
Not something by Terry Pratchett, no.
No.
The protagonist of this novel flings a mallet at the talking cricket, instantly killing him, and is kissed in a dream by a fairy with turquoise hair, turning him into a boy. Well, you've got to get it now. It's not Gulliver's Travels.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes,
Yeah.
it is Pinocchio. Yeah, and this astoundingly violent children's novel by Carlo Collodi about a marionette whose nose grows when he lies. It is Pinocchio, or The
Yes.
Adventures of Pinocchio. Yeah,
That's the actual book, not the Disney version.
yeah,
Yes, definitely
that's right.
not read that.
Yeah,
I actually haven't read the first. I must get an audio book and listen to the actual story. Yeah, interesting.
yeah. Okay, question 7. This single subfamily of animals uses a sonic ligament attached to their mandibles to vocalize chirps and pops.
Cats.
Not cats. No.
Okay.
Cetaceans?
No.
Cetaceans. Dolphins and whales.
The University of Illinois neuroscientist Justin Rhodes discovered that the preoptic areas of males from this subfamily feminize more rapidly than their gonads, illustrating the neuroplasticity of gender.
Would it be dolphins?
Not bats, not dolphins, no.
Okay.
These animals exhibit a form of sequential hermaphroditism in which the death of alpha females prompts their male mates to transition into females to replace them.
Frogs.
Frogs would have
Not
been
frogs.
like
Not frogs.
Frogs
no.
do that. Okay.
Toads, amphibians.
Chirps and pops is what's getting me.
According to competing theories, these animals may be coated with a sugar-based rather than protein-based mucus, or they may have co-evolved to protect themselves from the nematocysts of their hosts.
Clownfish. No. Angelfish.
These animals of subfamily Amphiprioninae exhibit symbiotic relationships with the genera Heteractus and
Clownfish. Yeah.
and Sticodactyla, which are part of a sessile order of cnidarians. That's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
Mouthful.
I think there's a winner out in the peanuts.
Yeah, they got it
Name
already.
these orange and white striped fish which live within sea anemones. It is these fellas. They are the clownfish. Yeah. Yeah, they changed gender.
Yeah, I know they changed gender. I didn't know about the mucus, but of course that's what keeps them safe from the sea anemones.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, here's a word for you. This word, prefixed by off, describes a class of thioldene copolymers that are often used in making integrated circuits for labs on a chip. What word comes after the off?
Yeah, I'll come through. They're gonna be pretty salty.
Metabolic pathways can be represented in terms of a matrix named for this word, symbolized uppercase gamma. No. This word, prefixed by non, describes compounds such as iron sulfides that have some proportion of crystallographic defects. A dimensionless number with this name appears in the denominator for calculating a quantity symbolized xi.
No. I think this is...
This word is often abbreviated to refer to air-fuel mixtures that are neither rich nor lean?
Stoichiometric.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yes, I'll accept that. Yep. Coefficients with this name appear as exponents in expressions for equilibrium constants. Yep. Chemical equations are balanced by adjusting coefficients with this name to ensure equal numbers of atoms on each side. Name this aspect of chemistry concerned with the proportions of reactants and products in reactions. It is stoichiometry.
It came up in a conversation in the pub last night. Obviously,
As
I was chatting.
often does, right?
I was chatting with one of the old farmers, and we were talking about filling balloons up with various things from gas bottles, and
and lighting them.
Yes, and causing ignition to happen.
I just want to knowledge. Sorry, I've meant to knowledge the last question that Dr. Nimrod got that clownfish question right fairly early in the piece. Anyway, moving on. He did, yes.
Yeah. Nerd alert got stoichiometric in there.
He did.
That's good.
In a petrol engine, it's about 14 to 1.
Yeah. Question 9. The chemist Roger Bacon was trying to determine this value for carbon when he accidentally invented graphite fibers. What value?
Mass.
Both main uranium enrichment methods exploit uranium hexafluoride's anomalous one of these values. The unusual behavior of a mixture of two isotopes below one of these values is exploited by dilution refrigerators. Not hardness. A calibration standard called ITS 90 was established by filling a glass cell named for this value with either argon, neon, or mercury to a purity standard of 6 nines. 99.9999% pure. Since the number of degrees of freedom is 0, only one of these values exists for a single component system as a consequence of a rule devised by Gibbs. I think we have a winner out in the peanuts. In 2019, the Kelvin was redefined in terms of the Boltzmann constant rather than one of these values.
Okay.
The line directly above this value has an unusual negative slope in the phase diagram for water. Name this temperature and pressure at which the gas, solid, and liquid phases of a substance coexist. No?
Triple point.
Yeah.
There, it is indeed that.
Triple point.
Triple point. As was given by Turing test a
Turing
while
test.
ago.
Okay,
Well done,
yeah.
Turing test. Yeah. And your last question. Certain types of this substance, insoluble in nitric acid, are processed by direct fluorination in a flame fluorination reactor.
In nitric acid.
This substance is the input of an extraction process that uses tri-N-butyl phosphate diluted with dodecane as a solvent.
Couldn't it just use baking powder like everything else?
This substance can be held in racks at high density by incorporating boraflex or other boron-containing materials. Luminiferous ether, no. Underpants.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
I'm guessing something nuclear, like fuel rods or something, because they use borax or boron or something.
Close, very close.
Yeah.
The jacket or cladding is removed from this material before it is dissolved in the head-end treatment steps of the Purex process.
Something like yellow cake or something.
You're on the right track, Timbo, but I need a more specific answer. Analysis of pools used to store this substance assume that they are split into two regions. One where the burn-up value is greater than or equal to the burn-up credit, and one with maximum reactivity. Not potatoes.
For the immediate
Enriched uranium, maybe.
Not enriched uranium.
Plutonium.
Or just uranium in that case.
It'd be spent uranium, wouldn't it?
In the US, this substance is left for several years in those pools before it is transferred to NRC certified dry storage casks.
Okay, depleted.
Depleted
uranium.
Yeah. Name this substance removed from reactor cores because it is depleted of uranium and plutonium and thus no longer able to sustain fusion. It would be...
well,
nuclear
it's not depleted.
waste.
Nuclear waste?
That's the
Nuclear
one.
fuel?
Yeah, spent nuclear fuel or nuclear waste. Yeah, I'll accept nuclear waste. Yeah.
I said spent nuclear fusion rods. I thought that was close enough.
Yeah, and that was your quiz.
Well
There
done.
you go.
Thanks for that, Paul. Very good. Why is your plane flying upside down, Alan?
Because he's inverted.
Yeah, because he was in the middle of doing a very big barrel roll.
If you could turn the camera up the other
He
way.
dropped something, and instead of reaching for it, he thought, I know, if I just go inverted,
it'll
drop back in my lap.
There. Yeah. Well, thanks for that, Paul. I do enjoy those. I think after that we have to listen. I've got some CC to listen to now.
To dumb us down a bit more.
Yeah, bring it down a bit. Yeah, let's put some CC. Here we go.
Good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County. It's 1:30.
Be quiet. Yeah, be quiet.
There's a couple of things I have a problem with. All right, and that is gravity. Of
And you
course.
couple?
Every flat earther has that problem. Now, my problem with gravity is if you ever been to the Dead Sea? See, I've never been out there. I'm sure somebody has been out there, and apparently you can just float out in the middle of the ocean out there and just not move and just float. Now, where does the formula come to figure out the force of gravity in a pool of water, in an ocean of water of the Dead Sea, and you're not being brought down? Well, you're going to say that's salt. Salt will... No, that doesn't make any sense. Why would that have any effect at all? Gravity doesn't... Are you telling me gravity is very selective on what it's pulling down? Well, obviously it is.
No.
Because we can go into the butterflies and insects and all that. But I've already brought that up. What about mercury?
Yep.
Give me a pool of mercury. Okay. I can put a 110-pound anvil on that pool of mercury, and it'll float like a piece of wood. Where does gravity take place there?
Density
No,
versus
that doesn't make any sense. Does
buoyancy.
that compute? No, it doesn't. What about the sun?
It does actually make sense to
July
me.
8th.
Yeah.
99% of Earth is illuminated with the sun. See, now that doesn't make any sense on a spinning wet ball at all. And how could it do it on the same exact date every year for all time?
It's 99% of the population of the Earth.
Never moves. Wake the fuck up. Please, people. Thank you for subbing or thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.
Well,
Oh dear.
yes,
How to go on
99%.
YouTube and announce to the world that you're a moron.
Yeah.
The buoyancy, which is the formula for buoyancy, directly includes gravity. For a start. Density. And the fact that 99% of the Earth, 99% of the population is lit up by the sun. Get it all wrong in the same YouTube video. Why not? Who else can get it all wrong? I do have Leo. Leo can get it all wrong.
Well, he always gets it wrong.
Yeah. Graph and Nari evolution. Nice.
Which Leo have I got up here?
It's a visual. The toilet on the International Space Station destroys the International Space Station. It's design spec. Not many even wanted to go there. But surprisingly, one rolled his sleeves up and went, let's have it, as he chose to defend the International Space Station and the ridiculous toilet that gives the game away. We'll put aside Dan's dishonesty, where he only addresses what I said in one video and not two. Does that to misrepresent me, just to give himself some content. Pathetic, son. We'll put that aside and we'll just look at what this man's defense of the toilet on the International Space Station is.
For number two, the principle is actually exactly the same. Suction. We have a solid waste container here, and on top of it is this seat. And the solid waste container is connected via this hose to the same fan, so that, again, the same suction effect allows you to do your number two in weightlessness. I want to show you how it looks, but since we don't want any bad smells to come out, we're going to actually turn on the fan. It's going to be a little bit loud. Here we go. Now you can lift the lid, and there is this seat that sort of looks comfortable, but you don't really sit in weightlessness. So most of us actually prefer to lift this one as well and use directly the opening that goes into the bag. And in fact, there is a...
So they've got a direct opening that goes into a bag, but she claimed this thing works on suction.
What? So the Hoovers of old didn't have bags in them?
Well, it can it, if it's a bag that your bottom sits over and does his business on.
Now, Level Earth Observer is definitely of an age where he used to use vacuum cleaners that had bags in. The concept is not hard to understand.
Like this.
Strange boy. So Simon Dan's citing an old school vacuum cleaner as proof that this toilet works. Should we have a look at the mechanisms of the vacuum cleaners from back in the day? Bear with me.
Yes,
this is a cutaway of an old school vacuum. You can see the air coming in, being sucked into the bag from the left, coming into the bag. The air leaves the bag through the filter, leaving all the crap, dust and whatever actually in the bag, and the air that's left through the filter then goes out through a vent, actually leaving the vacuum itself. Okay? Dan's not really thought this through, has he? Let's just look at the bag a bit.
That's it.
And when we are done with our business, we close the bag and we push it down into the solid waste container. And then, of course, as a courtesy to the next person, we put a new fresh bag inside.
So this bag that they sit above apparently and do their business in only has one opening. Think about that. Only one opening. And that opening is obviously the opening that's beneath you when you're sat on the toilet.
So does the bag get put in a vacuum?
So a vacuum is impossible unless you've got the suction device attached to the bag. It's not, is it? So it doesn't work, does it? That shows you how
It does
ridiculously
work.
stupid Simon Dan is.
Do you know how stupid you
So
are?
Simon Dan cited an old school vacuum cleaner as proof that the International Space Station was real. And all it did was actually suck the dreams, delusions, and fantasies of globe believers and space fans away.
He's not very good at doing research, is he?
No.
No.
No, it doesn't
Because
quite. Yeah, go on.
if you look at the Wikipedia page for the toilet on the ISS, it tells you how it bloody works. The bag is made of a membrane that will only allow gases to pass through.
Yeah.
So you can have something sucking air through it, creating that partial vacuum, but it will not allow liquids and solids to pass through it. But the air does.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, this has been built by NASA, who tends to employ clever people.
And
Not
set
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yes. You've got dumb
Giving the
people going,
internet
oh,
to-
no, that's impossible.
Giving the internet to stupid people doesn't always work.
That's why there's been a resurgence in flat Earth these last years, because now via the internet they can all contact each other and go, aren't we clever?
Well, I'm trying to work out what old style vacuum this would have been, but the old bags, there was only one hole on the ones that used to take a bag, right? You stuck over the opening. It's the same. I don't know where he's got this idea that there was two holes in the bag.
I haven't used a vacuum cleaner with a bag in for,
No.
I don't know how, oh Christ. Must be over 20 years.
So I don't think he understands how a vacuum cleaner works, but I'm trying to debunk it because I think he's just said, oh, look at this. This comes in this way and
None of
goes
them
out
know
that
how a
way.
vacuum cleaner works because they have no understanding of pressure, particularly air pressure. Why does it suck something up? Because it's creating a low pressure area. It's not, like I say, it's not rocket science, but rocket science isn't rocket science. But the toilet uses a bag that only lets gas pass through it. That's how it can suck air through it, but not suck everything else through it. Because you don't want that. And they've had problems with the toilets on the ISS before.
Yes, yes. That is a tricky thing to work with.
But anything's better than what they had to do on Apollo. Shit in a bag.
That's right. Didn't have any system. Work it out.
Going for a pee weren't too bad, but if you wanted a dump, it was, yeah. Whose is this? Whose turn is that? Can't remember which Apollo that was, but it's like, it's not mine.
Yes. Let's have a little bit more Everett. This is a new one. This is a pretty new one, only just come out. Oop. There we go.
Today I'm going to prove that Antarctica is really an ice wall. Pay attention, because it's going to get real deep.
A man with no mind, with no ideas of his own. One might almost say, a man with no brain.
Rang, my lord.
First things first, we're going to take a look at some maps pre-1900.
That's on a
And
map.
it seems like those people had a pretty good idea of what shape our Earth was.
Let's put it like this. Don't underestimate the stupidity out there when an unused thinking apparatus becomes a dormant organ.
This map here hangs in the UN headquarters, clearly showing a flat Earth model with land outside of the ice wall.
Is any of that true? No, man, I'm making it up. Actually, I'm hypoglycemic. I make stuff up. Hypo means make, glycemic means stuff up.
Another piece in this puzzle is Australia. Now you see a lot of the older maps pre-20th century showed Australia connecting to Antarctica.
No, they didn't.
Did he just say what I think he just said?
I think he did.
What did I offend him? Did I offend him?
You offended him a little bit, Brad, a little bit. Not too far.
Now, there are 2 fences that are currently active in Australia.
Too bad New Zealanders are a bunch of cocky a-holes descended from criminals and retarded monkeys.
Are you thinking of Australians?
Yeah, that's Australians.
That's Australians.
No, New Zealanders. They throw another shrimp on the barbie, ride around in your kangaroos all day.
No,
that's Australians.
We have the dingo fence
We have more
here
than
in
2
the southeast, and then we have the rabbit fence here on the west coast.
I've totally confused you with Australians. I feel terrible.
Oh, no.
Your accents are just kind of similar.
Our accents are completely different. They're like, where's the car? And we're like, where's the car?
The length of the fence is about 5,000 kilometers. People are forbidden to cross this wall, and anybody who has or has attempted to has never been seen or heard from again.
You've actually got a problem, don't you? Maybe you're a compulsive liar or something.
Well, let's just say I'm not quite right upstairs.
You will also face up to a $20,000 fine and face imprisonment for even attempting to get near the fence.
Now, any history of insanity in the family?
What?
So what, I'll cross out the in. Any history of sanity in the family? None whatsoever.
Antarctica is also guarded, very similarly to Australia, by the Maritime Police.
Once I got on board, I handled with a combination of small arms fire and hand-to-hand techniques. I am completely out of ammo.
Anybody approaching Antarctica by boat will be targeted by these warships and be told to turn around, or they will be eliminated.
May I suggest the possibility that you're faking it?
What kind of
No,
a
that's
person would do
actually-
something like that?
And I don't know what kind of person would do something like that. Obviously, a very sick
Send all
person.
Antarctica.
A very immature person.
Anyone pick that from you, Carl?
A person who has no regard for wasting other people's valuable time. Goodbye.
Now you tell me, if they weren't hiding something, why would all of these international powers make such a big deal about any of us going down there?
Well,
If I can offer you a word of advice, I would consider wrapping this whole thing up.
What do you mean?
I mean, this whole thing has been going on way too long.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that.
Haters gonna hate.
I don't know where he gets his $20,000 fine if he go near the fence. And which one of them?
Yeah, well, I suppose if you're going to make shit up, make shit up.
Why not?
Very bizarre.
It is a little bit. They even made a movie called The Rabbit Proof Fence. People wandered along it.
Oh, yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
I've not seen it, but I am aware of it.
Oh yeah, it's not a bad film. But... And that's a
the
funny
rabbits
thing.
do an awful lot of damage to your.
Yeah, well, that's a funny thing. He says the rabbit proof fence. There's actually several of them. Same as there's not one dingo fence. There's several of them. Anyway.
Yeah, well, invasive species and all that. Your ecosystem's not used to that.
Yeah. So, why not?
That's why when you watch these programs about the Australian sort of customs, the customs people, when they're flying in,
so
they're
that
so hot on.
For a sec, I was going to say, what customs do we have? You know, what that we have to throw, don't throw shrink on the Barbie, and you know, we tend to make fun.
Right.
We have a custom of making fun of Englishmen and stuff like that. Yes, that sort of customs. Yes, where biosecurity is quite important. We make much more fuss about that than we do about going to Antarctica. What else we got? Anyone had anything exciting happen last few weeks, flat Earth wise or otherwise?
No.
Oh, What boring. Has been a boring week. I did start that off before Paul and Blue came in. It's been quiet the last few weeks. Just, I don't know, just quietening down. So
I mean,
much,
obviously, I don't watch any of their channels. All I know is what they're doing is from, debunkers and that putting up their videos.
Yeah, well, even from hearing around the traps, usually get a bit of a sense, but it's just gone really quiet.
Jack of all trades keeps putting up his little ultra shorts on Flatsoid, and Flatsoid's getting extremely pissed off about that. He said, I could get him copyright struck. No, you can't.
No.
He's doing reaction videos to your shit.
Yes.
No, he keeps doing it just about me. No, he doesn't. But Flatsoid is really pissed off with him, which is good.
It's just way to be. Well, no.
Oh yes, they have. They've started the top left, haven't they?
Oh, have they?
Yeah, but only just. That was only the other day. I mean, people have got to put the nominations in and everything.
I didn't see that. Was that?
That was FGFE and.
Must have been on FTFE's channel because I don't look at his channel that much. It must be on Toons too, but I was looking at Toon today. I didn't see it. So, I'm sure it's there. They did start it, so I thought we'd do a Wally. I haven't done a Wally for a while. So let's do a Wally. There we go. So it's very noisy. Wally, you can change your intro.
G'day everybody, where's Wally here? Once again I hear Brian and spherical triangles. He is banging on like a dunny door in the storm yet again. Okay, well let's have a listen to something Brian said, shall we?
And he has never been measured as a globe. There is no R value measurement for a globe Earth. It doesn't exist. This is the problem. There's no measurement or system of measurement that measures a sphere. That measures the Earth, as a sphere. There is a system of measurement for a sphere, but there's no system of measurement that measures the Earth as a sphere. It just doesn't exist, full stop. But they require it to exist for their claimed great circles to exist, and then for their claimed spherical triangles to exist, so then they can claim their spherical excess. But as I showed, what spherical excess is an adding of surface area that doesn't exist.
Adding surface area that doesn't really exist, hey? Well, Brian, I will definitely come back to that claim later.
Right, so what did they do about that? Now, you see, this is really funny. Watch this, right? This is from a surveying site. It's called Civil Planets, right? Methods of surveying. They go through plane surveying, right here, where they go through what they do in plane surveying, where they create these five-sided pentagons, and this is like this is all using triangles within it, blah blah blah. I'll show you some of that in a minute, some more of that in a minute. But the point is that in plane surveying, this is what they're doing. They're doing reality, right?
Brian, plane surveyors are dealing with reality, and it would appear that you are not. You've got to love when you just ignore the words that are written on your own reference material. Cherry picking much there, Brian?
Now they're doing the same thing in geodetic surveying. They're using the same tools, doing the same thing, right? But try and give the impression that they're not, right?
While Brian bangs on a bit more, just read the words here that Brian most definitely will not be reading out loud. Carry on, Brian.
If we come down to here, we have geodetic surveying, right? And I added up these three angles here earlier, right? And they came to slightly less than 180 degrees. I did the same with these three angles of this triangle, and they came to slightly less than 180 degrees, and the same for this one.
Is it though, Brian? Seems the third triangle is exactly 180 degrees. Did you get a little bit carried away there, Brian?
I'm not going to go into that now. It doesn't matter. Right? For a start, it's impossible for a real triangle to have less or more than 180 degrees, number one.
Yet again, we have Brian trying his hardest to reword things to suit his narrative. Real triangles, Brian? Seriously? What you are calling real is what the rest of humanity calls planar triangles. Spherical triangles are also real triangles and just simply another form of geometry that is perfect for working with spheres instead of planes.
I haven't really given that one a much thought. So what they're doing is they're using actual triangles and claiming there's less than 180 degrees in it, inside them, from what I can see here. So they can then claim that when they place them onto a convex surface, right, of just the right size, right, that they will then, that excess amount that's created will make up the little bit that they're lacking here. Now, if that is not the biggest joke ever, I don't know what is.
Oh, we can think of a few people that would qualify as the biggest jokes ever, mate. Case in point, let's listen to Brian a little bit later on displaying his unfathomable knowledge of sextants and angles and stuff.
Here you have two lighthouses and you have a boat, and one is a 50 degree angle here and a 60 degree angle here, and the distance is whatever, 10 miles. Then if you want to know how far you are from those, or what position you're in relation to those two, you're going to use trilateration, right?
No, Brian, that's not trilateration, that's triangulation. You still aren't real sure about which is which, are you, Brian? For a self-professed expert, this is kind of embarrassing, mate.
Now, if that is not the biggest joke ever, I don't know what is. Because they don't use it vertically. They can use it vertically, with lighthouses and stuff, with the sextant, but they can't do it with the celestials vertically.
Oh, you can't do triangulation with celestial stars. Oh, really? Do tell why not, Brian.
Because they don't know the height of the celestials, but they can do lighthouses vertically.
Why do you not know the height, Brian? You know the flat baseline, you know the distance to the GP, you know it's a right angle at the GP, and you know the angle that you are measuring. You must be able to solve that real triangle now, Brian. So what happened when you tried to do that, Brian? Did you get a whole lot of different heights of the celestials at different times and different angles? And Brian, did you just decide that you can't calculate the height? Instead of realizing that something is terribly wrong with how you're using celestial navigation, you just look away. That's not terribly honest, is it, Brian? Don't mention the height of the celestials. I did once, but I think I got away with it. Oh, and one last point, Brian. Celestial navigation on a globe doesn't need the height. We don't use triangles. We just use the angle that the celestial makes to the horizon, or to the vertical if you want to say you need a flat baseline. What a joke, Brian.
Now, if that is not the biggest joke ever, I don't know what is. Here we have LIGO. Now, LIGO, I did a thing where I measured along the length of the, in Google Earth, I made a polygon, right, using the two arms of LIGO, right, and a line between them. And what was funny is Google Earth, when I did that same polygon in a right-angle triangle calculator, and the result I got from Google were different. So in the right-angle triangle calculator, the opposite and the adjacent, and on Google Earth, the opposite and the adjacent were exactly the same length. But the hypotenuse in Google Earth was shorter. And I thought it was maybe down, because I wasn't a big area, I thought it was maybe down to my accuracy. But then I went on and I did it again, and it was still wrong. There was still a difference. Then I did it with a bigger area, and there was a bigger difference, and a bigger area again, 2 more times, and there was a bigger difference 2 more times. And I figured out what was going on. Google Earth, right, what they're doing is they're treating, let's say this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, right? They're treating those two sides of the triangle as straight lines, right? But they're trying to give the impression, right, that you're on a spherical convex surface. But the problem with that is, if they do that, right, what happens is the hypotenuse between these 2 points, this adjacent and this opposite, all curve, and they end up with spherical excess. What's that? That'd be like stretching out the land here, and there's a void in here that doesn't exist.
Well, Brian got himself all hot and bothered over Google Earth and spherical excess. He stated many times that extra lands don't exist. Well, Brian, let me help you lose some more sleep. Now, here are a few facts that can't be disputed. In the USA, there are 2 states that are rectangular, and their borders are straight lines, meaning that no natural features were used to define the state's borders. Now listen very carefully, I will say this only once. Colorado and Wyoming are the same size. Both span 4 degrees of latitude north to south, and both span 7 degrees of longitude east to west. Okay, so the same amount of degrees, Brian. Have you got that? Oh, and of this, there is no doubt whatsoever. It is written into the law. That is how the state borders are defined. So how about you Google the area of each state, Brian? Wyoming is 253,340 kilometres, and Colorado is not the same. It's 269,837 kilometres. That's 16,500 square kilometres more. How is this happening, Brian? Now let's just look at the sizes. North to south, 440 kilometres for both Colorado and Wyoming. Wyoming's northern border is 550 kilometres. Its southern border is 587 kilometres. Colorado's northern border, which is mostly shared with Wyoming, is the same length, 587 kilometres, just 7 degrees. But its southern border is 622 kilometres. All 4 are 7 degrees long. Now those distances are correct. I mean, there are farms and houses and cities and roads all along those borders. They can't be cheated to be a different distance. Someone would notice if their farm or their road was 10% shorter than what was stated on the deeds. So Brian, you have a huge problem here. This is showing spherical access in action, in real life, at the scale of the states of the USA. You can see it, can't you?
I haven't really given that one much thought.
So, I can't wait for you to trot off to Papa Flurf Jokley and ask him for his help on this one. You will not be able to say anything other than, well, I guess Wally has done it again. The Earth is not flat. Because if those states have borders that are only east, west, north and south, which they do, and if they only have 90-degree corners, which they do, then they must be real rectangles if the Earth was flat. They are not real rectangles, but they are geodesic rectangles because, now say it with me, Brian, the Earth is a globe. Now that Brian has a headache and needs an aspirin and a good lie down, I will go on to prove that black is white, but I will be careful on the very next pedestrian crossing I come across. And then I did see quite a lot this week, so enjoy some of the good and some of the bad. I did cry a little bit at one stage. Enjoy this, guys. Oh mate, it's so jolly hot here. Hey, I want to ask you, this is the 20 by 40 stock. It slides beautifully in that groove there. What I'm trying to work out is how do I need a smart person to tell me how do I clamp that so this will slide up and down this way and that way when on as a leg extension, but will also sit nice and solid.
I could answer that, but you don't clamp it. That's the answer to that. You put a spacer between it so that they stay the same spacing but can't move. Simple. Anyway, there we go.
Poor old Brian.
Yeah.
He must live in constant bafflement.
Yes. You just can't. These things come up, and he comes up with, well, they can't be right, so there must be another reason. So, yeah.
Well, I left him a comment on one of his videos. I said, you know, if you genuinely believe what you're saying, then I really feel sorry for you. And he said, "Oh, I'm just giving you the facts. Just educating you, giving you the facts." It's just like, no, you just. I don't think he knows how wrong he is.
No. No, even his diagram of working out the, if you're in a boat trying to work out the angle from the 2 lighthouses, and he's got the angles at the lighthouses. Obviously, you're not in the boat. You can't go to the lighthouse, then measure that angle. You have to measure the angle from the boat. Yeah. Silly man. Silly man.
Yes.
Well, Bob's been a little bit. I did Dan already, didn't I? I think. What did I? Did we do this Dan?
Level Earth Observer is probably one of the most...
We didn't do that one, did we? No, go to Dan. Let's do a straw poll. Do you want to do a Dan or a Bob?
Is this Bob the Science Guy and Caleb?
Yeah.
They're quite amusing.
Bob the Science Guy and Caleb.
Okay,
they are. Because poor old Caleb, he's just... He's just got torn to pieces and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah. Okay, this is the first one of that sitting. Bob the Science Guy.
Heard it here on TikTok a little while ago. So,
got any evidence for the Earth being spherical?
Of course. I've measured it personally.
How do you measure it? How do you measure the sphericity of the Earth? How do we do that?
Well, let's see. Water's level, right?
Yep.
Great.
Water's
so
level.
if I have something a certain distance above water on one side of a lake and the same distance above water on the other side of the lake, they both line up on an auto level, wouldn't they?
What?
Now, right off the bat, Caleb tries to challenge me to provide evidence of Earth curvature, which I, of course, have done. And then he asked me how I did it. So I gave him a very simple measurement of Earth curvature. In this case, if you have a level lake and you have two objects on either side of that lake, one is a telescope that is set up to a horizontal at that point, and the other is a target at the exact same height as the telescope, the horizontal caused by the first object would intersect the second object on the other side of the lake. However, on a curved surface, if you set up a horizontal at the side of the telescope and set up a target on the opposite side of the lake at exactly the same height above lake level, that object will actually be below the horizontal line, and you would be able to measure the drop in curvature. See where I'm going with this? And as a result, what he's doing is asking me to repeat myself, to give him a moment to think.
What?
They would both be at the same horizontal if they were at the same height above lake level, wouldn't they be?
Is there an atmosphere, Bob?
Yeah.
What does that atmosphere do?
Well, it would refract it 1/4 of an inch up, but Earth curve would be 2 inches.
What are you talking about, 1/4 of an inch? Where do you get 1/4 of an inch, Bob?
Standard refraction.
Over how many miles?
Half a mile.
Half a mile?
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to give us like a thought experiment of where are we observing? The observer's at X, they're observing to Y. What's the difference, what's the distance between X and Y?
Half a mile.
Half a mile. Yep. You think you can deduce curvature over half a mile, Bob? Are you genuinely?
Deduce or actually measure?
Deduce or measure.
Yes, I can measure it, and I have measured it.
What does deduce mean, Bob? If you want to get semantical, we can do etymological fallacies.
Okay, so I've explained the experiment, and now rather than digest that explanation and go with it from there, he tries to play some word games with me. He may or may not have used the word deduce deliberately to try and get a correction out of me. Well, I did correct him. I said I didn't deduce it, I measured it. There's a difference between those two words. Then he simply tried to confabulate the words as if somehow I was wrong. We're not going to do those. I'm discussing measurements.
My live, you're going to answer the question, Bob. What does deduce mean?
That means come to a logical conclusion based on evidence.
Could I use deduce or measure when talking in that sentence, in that format?
No.
I could use both, right?
Measure is actually collecting data. Deducing is what you do with the data.
Oh my gosh.
You're just connecting the dots on the data. Now, this is a very typical tactic you'll see in flat earth debates. They'll use a word and hope that you don't know the meaning of it, and then try and grill you on the meaning of the word. And they will continue to do this until they find a word that you don't know. Now, the purpose of this is to make you look stupid in front of their audiences. However, when you do actually know the meaning of the words, because you're a subject matter expert like I am, and know their script better than they do, it doesn't really work, and it actually blows up in their face. This is why Caleb is starting to get very frustrated right now. I actually measured the drop over half a mile, and it's 2 inches.
You measured, whoa. You measured the drop. Did you take in the fact that we see in curved visual space? What's the difference between hyperbolic geometry? Hold on, Bob. What's the difference between hyperbolic geometry and Euclidean geometry?
Now, if you pass the test on the first word they use, they'll simply try and do it again. Now, in this case, I passed the difference between deduction and measurement. Now he's trying to question my knowledge about our vision and claiming that we see in hyperbolic geometry. We'll go ahead and touch on that in the next episode. I wonder if it'll work out any better for him. This is Bob the Science Guy. Follow me for more.
And it just keeps getting better and better.
Now Dora says yes. We should. Dora, sorry, Judy. Get it right. We should go to part 4 on that.
Oh yes.
Let's skip it. Let's skip a couple. Yeah, it's finding Bob. Bob. Where are you, Bob? There he is. Part 2, part 4. Here we go.
There's a geometric curvature, Bob.
Whoops, sorry.
Well, hi everyone, this is Bob the Science Guy. Today I'm continuing my series on how to deal with debates with science deniers and flat earthers with my discussion with Caleb. So let's continue on and discuss the different horizons.
Because we're only supposed to be seeing 3 miles from a 6-foot observer height.
That's to the horizon. It is not
the horizon geometric or apparent, Bob?
That's 0 feet at the horizon. We can see to 3 miles.
Chill, Bob, chill. Is the horizon apparent or geometric, Bob?
Both. There are both types of horizons. However, we see the apparent horizon.
Yeah, so we never see the geometric horizon. So how can you say that it's both?
Well, there is a geometric horizon, and then there's a apparent horizon, which is always longer than the geometric.
Don't just repeat the script. How do we know there's a geometric horizon if we never see it? How do we know, Bob? Help me.
Mathematically. That's what a geometric horizon is.
Describe or explain, Bob?
Describe.
Okay, there we go. So it doesn't explain where the geometric horizon is at all. It only describes. We have to use science. So how do we
it describes the geometric horizon. That's what you asked me. Now, you may recall from the first episode, Caleb tried to use the word deduce and measure interchangeably. Now he's talking about describe versus explain. The mathematics describe the location of the geometric horizon. There's no explanation needed. It's simply a geometric fact.
Okay, there we go. So it doesn't explain where the geometric horizon is at all. It only describes. We have to use science. So how do we
it describes the geometric horizon. That's what you asked me.
Dude, Bob, I was in the middle of talking. How do we use science to prove there's a geometric curvature, Bob?
We describe it mathematically.
That didn't answer the question. How do we use science to prove there is a geometric curvature, Bob? Don't use math.
Well, how do you not use math in science?
You can do apparatuses and experiments.
How would you measure to something that you cannot see because of refraction in the atmosphere?
Oh, that's your problem, not mine. I'm not saying
it's not
there's
my problem at all.
Curvature. So that's actually your burden of proof. So do you want to try?
Well, you just measure the diameter of the sphere, and that tells you where.
How do you measure the diameter of the sphere of the Earth?
5, 6 different ways.
Do it. Do one. Don't just say there's 5 or 6. Do one, Bob.
Well, let's just kind of go down a couple of them. Let's look at optical measurements. How about Eratosthenes and Al-Biruni?
Do one.
All right, let's do another measurement, and that is use the odometer on your car to measure the distance between 2 points on the Earth. You will find that matches a great circle point, and you can calculate, or a great circle distance.
Whoa, stop. Did you just say drive from one point to another point?
Yes.
And read your odometer?
Yep. Now, this is a little sophisticated for Caleb, but let me go ahead and tell the rest of you how this is done. On a flat plane, such as a flat Earth, if you took 2 locations on that, say New York and Los Angeles, and you created a triangle between New York, Los Angeles, and the North Pole, you would have a solvable triangle. You know the distance from each city to the North Pole, that's 60 nautical miles per degree, and you know the angle at the North Pole because that is the difference in longitude between the 2 cities. Using the law of cosines, you can then solve for that third leg of the triangle, which is the distance between Los Angeles and New York. Now you can compare that to the great circle distance on a sphere. Now on a flat Earth, you would be able to predict that distance, and you could measure that with your car odometer. If you did not get that, you could take that odometer reading, and you could actually use it to calculate the radius of the sphere that great circle distance covered.
How does that tell us that the Earth's surface is curved, Bob?
Well, it matches a great circle, and you use the Haversine formula to calculate the radius of that circle.
How do you know it matches a great circle?
Because it's not a planar distance based on triangles.
What do you mean a planar distance?
Do you know what a triangle is?
If I drive from Nevada, from one side of Nevada to Utah, how do you decipher whether it's planar or spherical or a great circle? How do we decipher those?
Okay, well, you take the coordinate that you started in Nevada, and you take the coordinate that you finished in Utah. You take your odometer reading, you apply the Haversine formula, and you calculate the radius.
What's the Haversine formula?
The Haversine formula.
So wait, hold on. Does the Haversine formula have the radius or circumference baked into it?
The Haversine formula includes distance, latitude and longitude, and radius. And depending on what you put into it, you can solve for the remaining term.
Spell Haversine.
Now, this demonstrates Caleb's basic misunderstanding of mathematics. Now, most people that have made it through the 8th grade had a little introduction to algebra. So, for example, with the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. If you have the two sides, you can solve for the hypotenuse. If you have the hypotenuse in one side, you can solve for the other side. It just has to do with what variable you're trying to solve for. As long as you have all the other variables, you can solve for that variable. So in the case of the Haversine formula, the way that it is traditionally used is you take your starting coordinates, your ending coordinates, and then you use the Haversine formula to calculate the distance between the 2 points. And that Haversine formula does include the radius of the Earth. However, what if you have the 2 points and you have the actual distance between them? You can use the Haversine formula, just rearrange it a little bit, and solve for the radius. That's what I'm referring to here. He simply can't comprehend the mathematics behind that substitution where you're solving for a different variable. Now, the other thing that I wanted to point out too is he doesn't know what the Haversine formula is. He had to ask me how to spell it, and then he's looking it up, trying desperately to figure out what I'm even talking about. However, as soon as he does look it up, he not only misstates the Haversine formula, he's suddenly an expert on it and knows more about it than I do. Haversine, Haversine.
Okay, let's see.
So normally the way you would use the Haversine is you'd put the radius of the Earth in and the coordinates, and it would tell you the distance between the 2 points. However, if you have the distance between the 2 points and the coordinates, you can use it to calculate the radius.
Dude, the formulation of the Haversine, dude, it has the radius baked into it, Bob. You're just assuming the Earth has a specific radius without proving. How do we prove the radius of the Earth?
So Caleb, see if you can follow this.
Bob, stop. You will get kicked and you'll stop making money.
See, I'm not making money now, so I don't really care.
Bob, stop. Bob.
Let's see if we can do basic.
You're gone. You're gone. I don't care. I'm going to scream over you. I don't care. Let's try to find a more normal guess.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you take down a flat earther. Notice that he got so frustrated at the end because I was making him look really stupid that he ended up kicking me off the show. Now, a couple of things you should note, Caleb, because I'm talking to you now. While you were talking to me, you had 1,300 viewers. As soon as I left, you dropped down to 600. I gained quite a few new followers, and I got a lot of messages from the people in your audience. Now, here's something that you need to understand. The vast majority of people in your audience are there to watch you make a fool of yourself, and I just helped you out with that. So just remember, Caleb, people are not laughing with you. They're laughing at you. Have a good night, everyone. This is Bob the Science Guy. Thank you very much for tuning into this short little series. I had a lot of fun making it, and my 15 minutes with Caleb was, as you can see, quite productive. Take care, guys.
There you go. I was surprised Caleb's still around, but he went off for a little bit. Just come back.
He's mainly TikTok, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's TikTok.
That's it.
That's where a lot of them are gone because it's where the kids are.
It's where there's any money, I suppose. You can just have it.
Well, I don't know whether he does, but I think that's why you don't see Riley on YouTube much, because he said, "Oh no, we're on TikTok because that's where the children are." That's their target, kids.
Yes, it's a shame. But I suppose that's what it is. I think it's more a case it's annoying. It'd be interesting to see, like, in 10 years, these kids saying, "Oh, yeah, I used to believe the Earth was flat," or whether they admit it or not. Once they start to realise it's just ridiculous. I suppose it's the way it is. When you're young, sometimes you follow all sorts of silly things. Oh. Well, that's time to call the show. I think coming to an end. So it's close to midnight now. We're a little bit off.
That's good timing. Ready for an afternoon of rugby.
Yes, I was going to say. I'm sure you're waiting to find out whether Italy loses to. England loses to Italy, or the other way around.
I mean, miracles have happened before, but Italy, bless them, they just. They sometimes put up a good fight for the first half, and then it just goes to shit. I mean, they keep coming back and having another go, but
as somebody mentioned to me, you have to be careful of Italy, because you never know quite how many players you're going to have left at the end of the match.
Ah, right. You think it's that sort of.
Yeah.
So there we go. Okie dokie. Well, I'll say good night, Peanuts. Thanks for coming.
Good night, Peanuts.
We'll have another one next
Good
week.
night.
And we'll catch you then. Oh, yeah. See you, Peanuts.